Wow. What a pro.
Whew. Okay.
We are
Hello,
live.
everyone. Welcome to the internet. My name is Sam, and I'm going to be running through this Achtung, Cthulhu 2D20 edition character creation session. I've got some lovely people here with me. First of all, if you're watching back on YouTube, remember that this show is on every single Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 p.m. over here in the UK. Today, this is just episode 1, kind of our session 0, or kind of session 0.5, I guess, because we've already had a bit of a meeting beforehand. But let's go around people and chat to them and who they are. Britt, who are you and where can we find you on the internet?
Well, I am one half of WebDM. We do our videos every Wednesday, and we got a couple games on our Twitch channel on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I'm excited to be here. Just got done playing a nice game of hide and go pee with the cats since I locked their litter box up all day. So it's been great. I'm ready to play.
Oh, you're a champ, man. You came back just in time. Don't worry about it. And I'm joined by my fellow Modiphian, Virginia Page. She is here. Hi. Who are you? Where did you come from? Why did your character just die on another session?
Yeah, I am Virginia. So yeah, I'm another Modiphies person. I work with Sam. You can find me at Tabletop Horde on Twitter, and I have just come from a stream with Straticus Academy doing Star Trek Adventures, where I played a red shirt for one session, and my character died, and it freaked out everyone in chat. So that was fun. So it's new character building time.
Yeah. It's a good, weird kind of. You've done the RP thing, I guess, which is character death. Now we create a new character.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all okay. I can get over losing one character by building another one that hopefully you won't kill later.
I promise no random away teams or tricorders in World War II, even though we totally have precedent for that in the show. Susanna Grace, who are you, and where can we find you on the internet?
Hi, I'm Susanna Grace, otherwise known as Susie, and you can find me everywhere at Susanna Grace, including my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/Susanna Grace. I do a whole bunch of things, including tabletop RPGs, art streams, video games, you name it, I've probably done it, and I guest on a whole bunch of other channels too, including this very channel. On Thursdays, I DM the viewer games, so yeah, that's me.
Nice, good times. Shauna, who are you, and where can we find you on the internet?
Hi, Sean Oxoni, Flying Cirrus on Twitter, art, and then just like a bunch of other games all over the place.
Cool. And Callum, who are you, and where can we find you on the internet? You're muted.
Haha.
I am not muted anymore.
Yay!
Yay!
Hello, live from London. This is Callum from the Rollis podcast, the proudly London-based show of tabletop RPG fans across the Channel, the Pond, and beyond. I'm also a proud member of the RPG Academy network.
Awesome. And I am RPG Webby.
Yep.
Oh, go on.
Sorry, you can find me at what is written down there because it's a French word, so I won't spell it.
Fair enough. And I am RPG Webby. I work for Modiphius. You can find me on the internet pretty much anywhere with that tag or name. Not only am I working for Modiphius, developing this with a lovely team, but I'm also one half of Black Cats Gaming, and we are working on a modern take of the 5th edition OGL called The Spy Game. If you like action and espionage, then look out for that this coming few months. Hopefully we'll kickstart this year. Before we go into today's show, I have some sponsorship stuff to tell you all about, where you're going to be using Fantasy Grounds for all of our dice rolling and all of the kind of cool stuff for our campaign. There's beautiful maps, everything you need for your online tabletop sessions. You can try it for free at fantasygrounds.com. That's fantasygrounds.com. You can also get all of the miniatures you would ever need in the world from Wayland Games. You just go to waylandgames.co.uk, just down the road from me in Essex. to get yourself a huge range of D&D, Warhammer 40k, even some of their own IP as well. And then finally, Tabletop Loot provide fantastic dice for people, and we even give them away on stream too. So you can go to tabletoploot.com, see all kinds of cool stuff that you might want to have for your in-person sessions as well. You can even use the exclamation sponsor. Oh, I can use the exclamation sponsor in chat to tell you all about those too during the game. Finally, let me just tell you about how to interact with the game today. When we hit 20 retweets, we'll give you a set of Tabletop Loot dice. I guess that's someone at random, even though that says we'll give it to everyone. I think that's wrong. When we hit 20 retweets of this tweet, and I need to type it in chat. Not even typing. I guess it's a thing. Maybe Encounter Roleplay can help me out there. So if you can retweet our tweet about this game, then we will give away our first set of Tabletop Loot dice. And of course, you can donate any kind of natural ones, natural 20s, wild magic surges, and this month's special we have is the Table of Pets. You've got access to over 500 weird, exotic animals that you could give one of our player characters. Obviously, being Cthulhu, I might change that up a bit and make that either a kind of World War II animal you might find in Europe, or I might make it a weird squiggly thing with tentacles. We also, I'll go into it a bit more detail probably in the second game that we run next week, but because 2d20 is a bit different and it's a roll under system, natural ones and natural 20s are going to work a little bit differently. Natural ones are going to mean that you have a critical success, and they count for 2 successes if you need them, and then natural 20s count for a complication, so that's an automatic failure. If you want something super weird to happen when someone casts a spell, so I'm looking at you, Virginia, then use one of your wild magic surges as you donate, at which point one of the spells that will be cast during the session at some point will automatically miscast, and that means that something really weird will happen. So without further ado, let me go back to my chat and we can start talking about Achtung, Cthulhu. So the premise of Achtung, Cthulhu is basically World War II with tentacles. It's going to be re-released as a pulpy version of the fairly historic Kickstarter that was done by Modiphius, which started it all off for us. And basically, it's about allies working against some clandestine factions of the Nazi regime who are into the occult. We have a couple of key factions that we'll explore as we go in through the week's play. They are Black Sun and they are Nacht Wolf. Now, Black Sun are all about the kind of Cthulhu deep ones, making a bond with an old god to try and get some awesome power and obviously cast their kind of supremacy across Europe and across the world too with their Axis allies. And then we have Nacht Wolf, who are all about the blue crystal, and the blue crystal is some kind of cool, funky, otherworldly power source with which they power all their weird tech. But I'm not going to go into too much detail because I want you guys to find out as we play over the coming weeks as well, especially my player characters. So I know that we have briefly chatted, my fellow lovely players, about who we thought we wanted to play. I know you guys have probably now got some solid ideas about what you want to do. So maybe if we go round, starting with Pruitt, if there's anything in terms of a concept you have, or if there's kind of maybe a solid idea that you have, maybe let's kind of go around and just chat about that now to begin with to see who we've got on our team.
We kind of talked about loose concepts of like who would play what role, and I think the commander was left to me. So I look forward to not having my orders followed all season and being endlessly frustrated by those in my squad. So it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to be the fearless leader. I will be playing. I just came up with his name today. His name will be Captain W.C. Ward, William Christopher Ward. He's a Southern boy. He's from Texas. He's not really used to all this kind of newfangled technology and whatnot. But yeah, he's here to spread folksy and wisdom and make sure everybody gets home okay. Because like my daddy always said, no father should have to bury their child, son. And I said, Dad, you're right. And right after that, I had to shoot him. No, I don't know. Anyway, it's the South. You don't know what it's like down here. Anyway, yeah. So I look forward to taking the brakes off of my filters that keep my accent in check, and letting my Texan accent fly. But that's kind of just yeah. So
whenever I do an American accent, it tends to slide into Texas very quickly. So
it's
to that.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we got a commander. Commander is going to be one of our archetypes as well as we go through character creation. So that's kind of a fit, a little bit like our classes as well. Virginia, now I tasked Virginia a little bit with testing out the magic for us, because this 2D20 edition is currently in development, which means that the rules we'll be playing by are still in testing. So we'll be testing them. We're asking you to give maybe a little bit of feedback on what you're enjoying and what you're not, as well as any thoughts you had. I'm going to ask these guys to do that as well. So B is my magic guinea pig. So with that in mind, what kind of concept did you have coming to it? Because there's a couple of ways you can look into magic when it comes to Achtung Cthulhu.
Yeah, so I want to play an occultist, which is one of the kind of magic kind of backgrounds for Achtung characters, and I'm kind of leaning towards being the kind of academic who has studied this a bit. And yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm basing a lot of my stuff on she does it all through sigil magic, hopefully, because that's fun and interesting and quick. So we'll see how terribly wrong this goes when I fail to roll well and miscast everything. It's going to be great.
Nice. Looking forward to that. Susanna, have you got an idea?
I do. I was drawn very much to the Grease Monkey sort of deal, and I had a very cool idea of the northern lass, Elsie Braithwaite from Armley. She drives ambulances, volunteers for St. John's, and she worked in the munitions factory. You see, she's always been very handy with her hands and very good with machinery, and knows her way around a carburetor or two.
Nice, I like that. Very, very queen-like as well. She used to drive. Did you drive ambulances or just 4x4s around places?
I think it was ambulances she did.
I think she did.
She's very good with the 4x4 too, yeah. 4x4? Oh my god, whatever. It's one of those days. No. I can English.
We can work good. Cool. Jonah, what concept did you have in mind?
I was thinking of like more aligned to straight up like academic, like art history, that sort of thing. Cool. But kind of with a little bit of a more field agent being put more into the field. So kind of like more for that mundane research and that sort of thing.
Yeah, nice. Cool. But then kind of having that bit of field work gives us a bit to play with as well, which would be nice and cool. All right. Finally, Callum, what have you got in mind?
I'm not sure yet, or maybe I've been bothering you with my ideas already for a week. I'm gonna play someone. Yep.
No, as I say, you of all of us have got the history down. Like we've had podcasts and Wikipedia pages and stuff thrown at us. It's been great.
Yeah, so most of the stuff I posted and I told you about, I didn't knew that much before 2 weeks ago, but I loved that period and I jumped right into it again as I did. I used to be a hobbyist, painting little miniatures like this one, for instance. You see. Anyway, back then I was introduced to the history of the Spanish Civil War, and since you told me that we would start in 1939, and I wanted something to play someone who's kind of part of the resistance, but in 1939, because I believe France is not invaded yet, there's no resistance yet, or is there? There's actually a wide network of Spanish Republicans already active. So I'm going to play someone who already, for who the war started in 1936 already, and he's already introduced in an underground network, doing loads of stuff against fascists like the people of Blackson. And so he's already part of a network, and hopefully his contacts will be useful for Section M, which I believe is our his own employer. He's going to be the. I'm very keen to have a lot of languages, so I hope to do some very bad accents of many continental languages, and even a little bit of singing, maybe. And yeah, I'm very excited with this character.
I have been debating whether, and this is a very British thing now, and I don't think half of our audience are going to understand it. I'm debating whether to institute the convention that if you speak in the accent, you're doing the language, like hello, hello. So if you're doing a French accent, then you're speaking French. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether I can like let NPCs work out like that way.
Do you mean that there might be occurrence where we would hear a conversation as we are pissing by the door?
Maybe. I should say this only once.
Sam, you do a great French accent, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to warm myself up to that, though. I'm gonna have to. It's German. I've got to deal with first, I think. Cool. Okay. Well, with no clear concept in mind for you, Callum, let's maybe start. So I was going to go over a little bit of what the characters are made up of in terms of stats and stuff. This may be fairly familiar to people who maybe have played Star Trek or other 2D20 games, but also very similar kind of mechanics to other games too. So our player characters are made up of basically a kind of combination of attributes and skills. The attributes are the kind of initial abilities that our characters have. Describes their kind of physical and mental aptitudes and their natural kind of skills, as it were. So we have 6. They can be linked to any skill. So we have agility, which you can imagine is kind of dexterity, moving with certainty and precision, and it covers quick actions, stuff like that. Brawn is very much about strength. It's about kind of endurance. It's about natural physique, and that gives you certain bonuses as well to dealing stress to targets and stuff like that. Will also help you out with your health too. Coordination is your kind of fine motor skills, sense of accuracy, as well as a kind of sense of timing. So when you're trying to actually coordinate with other members of the team, it might be that you need to rely on coordinate at that point. So coordinated characters, if you maybe think of this, Susie, are good shots, good drivers as well, and pilots. They also kind of excel at kind of sleight of hand type stuff. And then insight is perceptive quality. So it's everything from sight, sound, to your instincts, your ability to comprehend the world, comprehend others' emotions, and kind of just the world around you in general. So insightful characters tend to have street smarts and a fair bit of wisdom behind them. And then reason is your ability with logic, intellect, learning about situations, definitely doing some research as well, Shauna, that kind of thing. So it's the kind of rational, contemplative side of your characters. And then will is the final ability, and that is your sense of self and your mental strength. So it's the driving force you have, your self-discipline, all that kind of thing. That will also might help you, Virginia, with your magic, depending on what kind of branch of magic you go down. Not only that, but also kind of how you were taught it as well, because that can vary, and as the kind of default stat for that. As I said, they link up with any of the skills that we have in the game. So there are no set combinations like, say, D&D or anything like that, where they are linked to a certain ability score. The skills and the abilities are completely free form. So I might ask you for, say, a reason and academia test. And then you would add those together to make a target number for your D20, which you'd have to roll equal to or under. But equally, I could ask you for an agility and academia for some reason. And that might be finding the right page in a second if you needed it, or something like that. So it's a bit more freeform, a bit more narrative in that sense. There's quite a few skills.
That's very cool.
Yeah. There's quite a few skills we're going to go through. I'll maybe just list them quickly for you now, so not to bore you too much with them. So there's academia, athletics, engineering, fighting, medicine, observation, persuasion, resilience, stealth, survival, tactics, and vehicles. Now, each of the skills has a list of what we call focuses. And now those focuses basically allow you to increase the range at which you can score a critical success. So a critical success in a D20 just means that you've scored 2 successes on 1 die as opposed to 1 if you roll under your skill rating. Normally, if you roll natural 1, then you have scored a critical success. But say if you've got 2 or 3 in an ability and your focus applies to it, then you get to get a crit on a 2 or a 3 as well. So it's pretty cool. Then we also have truths. Now, truths work a lot like aspects in Fate. So they are the kind of fundamental parts of your character that aren't described by your abilities or your skills or anything like that. So they're a good narrative descriptor of your character. Now, truths do a couple of things in the game. They either make something possible or impossible, where it would normally be otherwise, or it decreases or increases the difficulty of a test. So basic anatomy of a test would be that if I ask you to roll reason and academia, I'm going to say that's difficulty 2, for example. They can go from anything from 0 to 5 and beyond. And you have to get that many successes on the dice pool that you roll. You're rolling 2 D20 to begin with, and you can buy more D20s up to 3 more, so a total of 5 in your pool, by spending what we call momentum. Momentum points are basically accumulated as you score more successes than you need. So if that was difficulty 2 and you scored 4 successes, you did really well, you can translate that into like succeeding with pizzazz or style, or kind of getting an enhancement to what you did. But not only that, you can save it for later so that other people can use that to buy more D20s. And there are a couple of other ways of spending them too, but that's kind of the main ones there. And then finally, talents are those kind of edges, those kind of rules exceptions that you have that just give your character an edge when it comes to what they do. So that's the kind of main anatomy that we'll be looking at. I also then just wanted to quickly come back to what Callum was saying about the timing of the campaign. We'll be playing right the way towards the beginning of the war, or the kind of the main European war, as it were, in 1939. We'll actually be playing quite close up to the beginning of Britain and some of her allies declaring war on Germany, which was around the first to kind of it was the 3rd of September, I believe, in 39. So we'll be playing in August of that year. So tensions are pretty high in Europe. Nazi Germany has already annexed Austria, has just annexed part of Czechoslovakia as well, I believe, and is basically having ramped up their military power. They're basically on the border, on the Polish border, ready to what they so-called reclaim that land. So while people can still move fairly freely around, and while the game will be focused on an agency in the UK, things will slowly start to kind of close down in terms of travel. Although this will be one of those campaigns where we get to go to many different places and explore many different kind of cities around kind of Europe and just beyond it. So that should be pretty cool. All right, so the first kind of step to character creation that we have, once I scroll all the way down to this, is starting attributes. So each of our attributes start at 6. You guys have all got your character sheets that we'll just be using on just Google Sheets for ease for now. Virginia, you okay with yours now? I know you were having problems getting on.
Yeah, I think it's all sorted itself now, so.
Cool. So yeah, you should only be able to edit your own character sheet. Cool. So you can see all your attributes start at 6, and then all the skills are going to start at 0. So during character creation, you can raise your attributes actually up to a maximum of 11, and 12 is the absolute maximum if you could spend any XP and actually raise it further. Skills can be raised to a maximum of 5. And so at each stage of this process, character creation, you'll be able to increase those, and they'll grow as you make choices. And and there's certain choices that give you the increases rather than like a free point spend, by default. So step 2 is about choosing our archetype. So there are 3 main steps to the process. This is going to be our first. So you're going to select your character's archetype, and there are 8 archetypes. We have Boffin, we have Con Artist, we have an Occultist, we have Commander, we have an Investigator, an Infiltrator, a Soldier, and a Grease Monkey. So hopefully they should be fairly evocative, but not necessarily tie you down too much to like a class, or they're also not just military roles either. So hopefully you have a bit of freedom there in terms of that. Obviously we've had something like Soldier, we've had maybe Infiltrator and Grease Monkey. These were things that as things progress during the course of the war, obviously the world enters a kind of total war state, particularly Germany, whereby the line between military and civilian life is blurred throughout the populace. So at that point, people, maybe Susie, like your character, who they're still on the home front, but they're very much kind of part of the military structure of the country, and they're still kind of doing their part. So it's lent in that direction, but hopefully allows you just a bit of freedom. Prit, we had you down as commander first of all, didn't we?
Yep.
So have you got that up as well? So we'll see what that can give you.
Yeah.
Con Artist.
Let's see, where are we at? Oh yeah, it's at the bottom of the character creation, right?
Yeah. So we rejigged some of the names fairly early on in development. I haven't got them back into alphabetical order yet, and that's all.
Oh, that's okay. I'm sitting here like, wait a minute. I remember this from the other day. There it is. All right. Leader of the group, blah, blah, blah. So attributes is going to be +2 coordination, +1 insight, +2 reason, +1 will.
Yeah, so you've got a couple of increases at +2 and a couple of increases at +1. So if you can fill those in for me, just to keep track as you go on the sheet as well. Then you also going to get some skills there. And list them off for me.
All right, yeah, skills, academia +1, fighting +2, persuasion +1, survival +2, stealth +1, and tactics +2.
Nice.
I like it.
And then any 2 focuses as well. So you have 2 focus choices, and then you can pick from fighting, survival, and tactics.
Man, what are you going to do this to me? I want all 3 of them. Yeah, I'm just trying to think from as a Texas boy, like survival, I would normally skip survival and go if the power gamer in me wants to go fighting and tactics, but I think survival would be a big thing growing up, in Texas at this time. A lot of rural. So I'm thinking probably fighting and survival is what I'm going to do focus-wise.
Cool. So in the skill listing there, if you want to scroll back up, there's also the doc that's just got the skills and stuff in it, I think. You can pick from one on the list there, and maybe we'll revisit later all the kind of details of each skill and each survival. But then also in chat, if you guys want to hear about a particular skill, particular focuses of particular skill, let us know. Someone will shout at me. Sometimes it disappeared, the chat window thing disappears for me as I scroll, but we'll take a look. And then, so yeah, as you look from there also, you get a specific talent from only available options to the commander. So we've got Opportunist, we've got a Wilderness Guide, which you're maybe leaning towards, maybe diversify from Survival. You've also got Born Leader, and I quite like the sound of that title, to be honest with you.
Well, in my group of friends in the past, I was called the Fearless Leader, and so I'm kind of thinking I might go Born Leader there for that to kind of supplement the focuses I chose earlier. Excuse me, the foci.
Awesome. Yeah, cool.
So were you the captain of the football team?
No, he wasn't captain of the football team. I see him as someone who was raised on a ranch, and in his backstory, I was already thinking like his father did pass away early, so he kind of grew up on a ranch that his father owned, and he had a lot of ranch hands. So from a young age, he was technically in charge, even though they were much older, and he did not take shit from any of them, and so he knows how to yell at people and get them to do what they're supposed to be doing. But in a very kind of southern, a little folksian way. It's slightly endearing, a little infuriating. But yeah, all my windows went away. What just happened?
I don't know.
Still there, right? Okay. No, I don't know what I just did. All my windows minimized.
You're still here, so it's all good.
Yeah. Cool.
But nice. So you're a natural when it comes to leading others and bringing out the best in them. You may spend a fortune point in order for a single ally to immediately gain a fortune. So fortune points are also another little currency in the game, which you can spend. They allow you to re-roll dice more often than not. So that's how they come into play. Because obviously, our heroes of the allied forces have fate on their side. So some fortune points, you'll always have some stock of those at the beginning of each game, and then they'll kind of replenish as you do awesome stuff like punching Cthulhu in the face, stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. Cool.
I do like punching Cthulhu in the face in my other Call of Cthulhu game. So,
I mean, what else are you gonna do, right?
Well, when chat turns you into a superhero, you got to act like a superhero, and that's what happened. So.
There should be plenty of that here, I think. Cool. All right. So, Virginia, we're going occultist then.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you delve into the deeper, stranger forces of the universe. Only the most egotistical and delusional occultists can claim mastery over the occult forces, it says.
That's not a lie.
No, that's fair. That's fair. But what attributes do you get then for that?
So I get a +1 to brawn, a +2 to insight, a +1 to reason, and a +2 to will.
Awesome.
So,
as I said before, kind of will's going to help you out there, I think, and insight as well.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Are we plugging these into the sheet? Yeah.
Yeah, just add them to the totals that you've got in the cells there, and then make sure you keep a track. We will be doing a kind of final check at the end, just to make sure that we've got everything added up properly and no one's gone off the rails and got like 5s and everything. Cool. And once you've got all that, just go through your skills for me as well.
Cool. So I get academia +2, observation +1, persuasion +2, resilience +2, stealth +1, and survival +1. I like the sound of all of those.
And then 2 focuses from any 2 focuses from academia, persuasion, and resilience.
Yep. I've got to find where are they at the bottom of this page.
So more towards the top where the skills are all listed. But like I said, there's also that. I think there's a doc that's a separate. They're more listed separately as well.
Sorry, it was observation.
You're looking at academia, persuasion, and resilience.
Okay. Let's see. And it was 2, wasn't it? Sorry, I can't view that and the focuses at the same time.
That's all right. Any 2, yeah.
I mean, I'm going to take occultism and linguistics if I can take 2 from academia, because those are
any 2
that make the most sense. Yeah.
Cool. So you're probably going to go fairly focused down, fairly narrow path of the character. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Cool.
You do also get some funky talents. So you get a choice of one of these. Every single one of them will make you a spellcaster. So you will be the only one to be able to actually wield magic and act spells. So we have occult scholar, we have a summoner, and we have a price to pay.
Ooh, let me do a quick read.
So occult scholar is more that you have studied the supernatural, and you basically gain some courage, which is some kind of mental armor against magical effects. And then summoner is about calling creatures into existence, and you can spend some momentum to secure the obedience of a creature that you summon in the same round or whatnot. And then price to pay is that you understand that magic has some cost, and that whenever you pay the cost of a spell, you can spend 2 momentum to halve the cost, and then we can work out some kind of way to make that work narratively as well.
Cool. I'm gonna go with the price to pay because I think it's the more interesting out of the three. In that it seems a bit more broad.
Yeah.
I think it works well with being the good guys of magic and understanding that magic, with great power and all of that. So
cool.
I will go for that one.
Also, you also either gain access to some ritual tools or access to a shrine.
I will take ritual tools for that.
Okay, cool. So you can carry them with you. And then Pricks, I forgot yours, but it's actually okay. So you can requisition one item up to restriction 2 when we go on a mission. So there'll be a bit of a requisition kind of part of the game just at the beginning to grab the equipment and stuff.
Oh yeah,
so
gotta fill out T/458 form and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, man. Except you know the guy on the quartermaster, so it's okay. Exactly. Alrighty. I think that's you, B. It's all done. So Susie, what were you looking at particularly?
I was looking at Grease Monkey.
Nice. Is that up? I think that's down.
It's right at the bottom of all of them.
Ah, yeah. That used to be Transporter. So there we go.
Tragically, I am not Jason Statham.
But you are an expert at getting people and supplies where they need to be. So what attributes does that give you?
That gives me Brawn +1, Coordination +2, Insight +1, and Reason +2.
Nice. Cool. It's cool because Grease Monkey really, as an archetype, straddles the two disciplines between kind of driving stuff and fixing stuff. So that's where that is. That's awesome. Cool. So plug them in for me if you haven't already. And then we'll on to skills next as well.
Yep. So my skills are Athletics +1, Engineering +2, Persuasion +2, Resilience +1, Survival +1, and Vehicles +2.
Awesome. And then you can choose any 2 focuses from the Engineering, Persuasion, and Vehicles skills.
Yes. So from Engineering, I super want to take Explosives.
Do it.
I'm going to take Explosives.
Yes.
Okay, so in her spare time, Elsie has been tinkering away with explosive materials and can make bombs. Nice. And from vehicles, I think I will take heavy vehicles.
Cool.
So I can drive trucks and stuff.
Yeah, big stuff like that.
Since you're in the engineering department and you do explosives, maybe you're the person that makes like the still, because we need a still. We need some like booze when we get back from missions, like some homemade hooch. And maybe you can make like Molotovs with that or something. I don't know. Sorry.
I love that.
Nice. See if I can get that in somewhere. And then you've got a funky talent from that no one else can get. So we got Keep It Steady, Quartermaster. So maybe you're the one who's asking for all the T45 forms or whatever. But then we've got Born to Drive as well. I would maybe think this is what you're thinking of.
Yeah, Born to Drive is definitely one that was pulling me because I'd love to be able to just like hop behind the wheel of anything and be like, let's go.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So where's that? You're always in control of a vehicle you operate, and you can pull off incredible stunts when you need to. When attempting a vehicles test, so that's basically the vehicles will be the skill, and it'll be any attribute based on that. So when I ask for a vehicles skill test to operate a vehicle with a difficulty of 3 or higher, you can spend up to 3 momentum to reduce the difficulty by 1, 2, or 3 based on each point of momentum you spend. So it's basically like, I got this, I've done this bend before, I'm good, and you just crack on and we reduce the difficulty.
It's got a break, right? Let's go.
Well, that's where the complication range comes in. So some complications can come into play as you increase that. So as you increase it, you'll get a complication on a 19, a 20, an 18, 19, 20, and then a 17 upwards as well. So there's also kind of a risk to your maneuvers. So there's that too. All right. And then any belongings we've got here. Awesome. So mechanics tools or access to a garage or one vehicle of we haven't got a restriction on it yet, but maybe like one vehicle. So maybe you have that 4x4 or something, I don't know.
I do.
All right.
I have my own little Land Rover.
All right. Chuck that in. I think there's some belongings bits. There we go. Yeah, we've definitely got one. So chuck that in your belongings there somewhere.
Sweet.
And we'll...
I will fill that in.
You tuck that Land Rover away in your pocket for now.
I'll just pop it in there. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. All right, Sean, on to you. Now, you were a bit more of a mystery at this point, although we have kind of an idea, right?
Yeah, yes. I was thinking of initially Boffin seemed tempting, but I think I'm gonna go investigator and this cover the section
Nice.
M section of it.
Yeah, investigator also has. I think it links quite nicely with some other like backgrounds and characteristics later on. So watch out for them. I'm not going to sway you at this point, though. It should be fine. Yeah, so I think out of everyone, you are the one who has a hard drive for the truth, trying to rifle through desks and discover clues and do all that kind of stuff. So what attributes does that give you?
It gives me agility +1, coordination +1, insight +2, and a reason +2.
Yeah, that's what I would expect as well. Kind of the insight and reason being key things, particularly I think insight if you're maybe more into the kind of journalistic side of things, I guess, and reason as well, though, if you're actually kind of into, researchers and stuff like that. Kind of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely
Cool. All right. So pop those into the cells there if you haven't already for me. And then skills. What else have you got there, skills-wise?
Skills gives me academia +2, engineering +1, medicine +2, observation +2, persuasion +1, and stealth +1.
Awesome. And then any 2 focuses you want from academia, medicine, and observation.
Yep. And I think for that, I am going to, for her research background, be academic for one in cryptography.
Nice.
And observation being hearing.
Yeah, that could be quite cool with the cryptography kind of side of things, particularly on so like the British side of things. There was the Enigma codes that were being cracked and stuff like that. There's also that lovely story of people responding to the cryptic crossword in the Times and then getting recruited that way as a kind of an old pre-MI5, or I guess MI5 around at this point, aren't they? But a kind of Secret Service trick to try and get people in and recruit them that way. So yeah, so maybe that's something to maybe bear in mind about kind of how, not at this stage, or maybe you have been recruited into kind of military or kind of some kind of special kind of technical services or something. But I think that more come into play when we come to backgrounds and characteristics too. But then we get a funky investigator talent. So we've either got polymath, the cutting edge, or we've got detailed analysis. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm going down the line of detailed analysis just for her research kind of like background.
Cool, yeah. So you carefully studying everything you observe. Once per scene, you can spend 2 momentum to immediately ask me 3 questions about the scene, as per the obtained information momentum spend, without requiring a skill test. So one of the momentum spends we have in the game is called obtain information. And it's basically, you can ask me a question about what you've just completed in terms of like a skill test or something like that, and I have to answer it truthfully. Now, I don't have to go into massive amounts of detail. Hence the 3 questions that you get as well. And it's also a little bit of a reduction in terms of cost, which should help you out there too. All right. And not forgetting the belongings. 1 set of tools or access to a workshop from the following. So either analytical tools or access to a laboratory, first aid kit or access to a clinic, or a handgun or access to a library. I kind of like the handgun and library Cthulhu-y thing, so that's why I
I was totally leaning on that. That seems
cool.
the
Okay,
most tempting. Yeah,
nice.
Figure that out. Yeah, might take since it's a field thing, might take the handgun maybe.
Yeah. We'll figure out a pistol for you with the kind of stats of that a little bit later on. All right, Callum, you've waited very patiently for me, my man. let's go through yours. So what were you thinking for yours?
So,
For Mystery Man.
So I'm thinking of picking the archetype con artist, but a bit more than a con artist. I think of it more like a political activist. So he had to be discreet while being convincing with people around him. We'll tell a bit more about his background once we come to the nationality, maybe. But
Sure.
in terms of what it gives me the following bonus to attributes. It gives me le coordination +1. Insight +2, reason +1, and will +2.
Nice.
The skills are academia +1, observation +2, persuasion +2, resilience +1. I guess he's been roughened up a couple times. Stealth +2 because actually you're avoiding the police and the authority quite often when you're a political activist, and tactics +1.
Oh,
I guess
really cool.
the party is giving some informations now and then. Focuses. So
Yeah.
I can
choose any
choose-
2 focuses from observation, persuasion, and stealth.
okay, I think I will go for instincts in observation,
Sure.
and I will go for deceive in persuasion.
Oh, cool, nice. So kind of evading capture and stuff more from tricks of the tongue and stuff rather than actually getting away from people. That's quite cool.
Exactly. Infiltrator sounded good, but it's more like a commando being stealthy, and also con artist I think is more closer to what I had in mind.
Yeah, I also like the way you've taken the con artist, because it could obviously, with the idea, the connotation you get from the archetype's name, you get the kind of, or I immediately think of the kind of East London lad trying to kind of get away with robbing, I don't know, somewhere or something. But yeah, I know I like the way that you've taken that. That should be really cool to see flesh out. All
Yeah, we
right,
talked
so-
a bit. We talked a bit about that before today. The fact that con artist could be also someone who's not malicious per se, but someone in the resistance who's deceiving people but for a good cause.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And also, as obviously, as I think I said to you at the time as well. So while this is in development and up for some changes, maybe there is a better name for that. And that can encompass not only the side I was talking about, but also your side of kind of like political activism and that kind of thing that was definitely so prevalent of the time, particularly locally. As I was thinking about this today, that we are so connected now. And I was thinking, because I was thinking about the campaign and the actual getting of information. I was thinking, well, how surely they know if this thing had happened. I was like, well, maybe not actually, because the information doesn't get out there as it does nowadays. People are so more reliant on, letters, telegrams, direct communication, newspapers, radio, particularly as well now. So that will be very interesting.
No, you want me? No, you make me want to blabber about the May days in Barcelona and how the anarchists were legally in control of the telegraph and the radio. But
you are totally going to be my history guy. I'm just saying. And I'm definitely, particularly kind of like when it comes to people's backgrounds, I'm going to be like asking stuff, and we're going to try and dig a little bit of the history. We're not going to try and lean too much on something like that in terms of like the main cut and thrust of the game, but it's certainly something of interest that I want to dig into too, because it's been a few years since I studied World War II at school. So.
Hey, you're talking about communication, and I see we're only missing 2 retweets for the giveaway.
Oh, boom! You're a pro at this. Yeah. So speaking of communication, let's get the message out there, guys. If you can send a telegram for me on Twitter, then we'll release some dice to you, and I'll get that in our chat somehow and figure out how we're going to do that later. But please do that, because you could win yourself some dice. It'd be amazing.
You might say I have a talent for that.
Good job, man. Good job. We missed talents. We missed your talent now.
So what can I pick from with this beautiful political activist / con artist?
I'm scrolling. I do like con artists.
I know what I'm taking, but I think people want to hear what's available.
Good job, man. Forever my wingman on podcasts and live streams. We have cold reading, we have a way with words, and we have chameleon. What do you think of?
I will take cold reading for 300.
All right. Cold reading for 300 means that you know how to use simple observations and leading statements to appear more knowledgeable than you really are. So when you engage in a conversation, you can spend 2 momentum to perform a cold read. Now, it doesn't require a skill check or anything like that, but so long as you are talking with someone and you are getting something from them, then you can spend these 2 momentum. When other characters are present who aren't in on the trick, they will mistakenly believe that you have some sort of detailed, specific knowledge. So it's about it's the Darren Brown kind of magician's trick of seeming like you're getting to conclusions by the very simple little things that people are giving away in their kind of persona. Not only that, sir, but you have a disguise kit.
Yep.
One of the age-old tabletop roleplay game tropes. Beautiful disguise kit. So we're going to move on to, beautifully timed, because I'm trying to track where we are on the time as well, to step 3. Now this has a couple of parts to it. This is the nationality and background. So everyone comes from somewhere, and that does mean something, particularly at this time in history. So while your nationality won't affect any of your stats, your abilities or skills or anything like that, it will express a lot about who you are and where you've come from. Your nationality gives you a truth. And as I said before, that truth essentially will mean something is harder or easier for you to do depending on the circumstance. It'll also maybe make something possible or impossible. So for example, it may come to be that while traveling, certain people can't get through ports or places of entry than other people can because of the nationality. And we may come up against that. I may not even get it right at the time, but we'll see. Who knows? Not only that is that when you pick your nationality, you guys have got the languages table there of the main languages that are spoken. You get your mother tongue, the main language that you speak, that you learn to speak as a child. And you can speak fluently and read and write in as well. So maybe we just do a quick whip round of who everybody is, where they're from. Bri, I think we know where you're from.
Yes, I am from the great nation of Texas. We were the Lone Star State for like 10. We were like a country for like 10 minutes. But oh yeah, totally. That's why we're allowed to fly our flag even with the United States flag. Most people don't because of that. That's why we're the Lone Star State.
I never knew that.
Yeah, yeah. That's why everybody in Texas has kind of like an attitude, like we're bigger than.
We were a country
for like 10 minutes. Anyway, I know it was more than 10 minutes. I'm being hyperbolic for comedy. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So yeah, I'm going to be from the United States. And so
I think you should put Texas as your truth.
Okay.
I think you should put Texan as your truth. I like that. You see, I was sneakily getting some info from you for this truth. I need to come up with stuff later on down the line that doesn't let you do stuff or makes it more complicated. So I need to, yeah.
I love it.
I like it. I like it a lot. Virginia, where are you going to hail from?
Well, I kind of know I want to play a character from Section M, so I'm going for straight up British.
Them Brits though.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for the whole London born and bred thing. So.
Okay, so still 2 characters that speak English, which is helpful for me because at one point we will need the whole team to converse. Susie, you spoke about the home front and stuff. I guess British, unless you're going to throw me a curveball.
I'm going to be from God's own country, Yorkshire. The white rose will bloom in Elsie's heart. I'm from the United Kingdom.
Brilliant. I wonder if we should go a bit more specific as well with you, with the truth. Yeah. You can put Yorkshire if you want, you can put British if you want. It's up to you. I think maybe it matters more for us because we know the detail.
She's a Yorkshire woman first before she's a Brit, you know? Yorkshire is yeah.
All right. Yeah.
And I would be the one going the regionalist route.
There we go. Yeah. Shauna, what are you thinking of for nationality?
Yeah, I think since she's with Section M, I think I'm going British as well.
Cool, awesome. 3 Brits. Awesome. I should say from this point that we're not starting in Section M. It's actually a little early in our timeline for them to be a thing, but don't worry, they will be. So look forward to that. Okay, Callum, where are you from?
So I'm gonna pick as my truth that I'm Walloon.
Okay. I have to profess ignorance. I don't know what that is.
Well, it's part of the charm, actually. I came up with a little text which I'll send you later, describing a bit this beautiful place. But kind of the principle is that my truth, if I made it a sentence like in Fate, would be, where the hell are Walloons from?
Yeah.
Because as a land which, a part of Belgium, which I've seen a lot of immigration through ages, even as the local people tend to easily blend or be confused with Spaniards, French, even Germans who, they brown hair, I'm Walloon. They can be taken for different nationalities. They kind of nondescript. So I think it kind of works in a very industrial area, so it might be good to mingle with the workers and laborers from different big factories.
Well, that's kind of great too, because I think it will also maybe kind of allow you to pass around places in Europe with kind of a bit more freedom as people assume who or where you're from. So that'd be quite cool. So because I mean I know there are a couple of different languages in Belgium. Which do you speak?
So Walloon is actually a language, but for simplicity, at least at this stage, I'm going to pick French as my first language.
Cool, no problem.
Et à partir de ce point, je vais juste parler français, donc, et Sam, tu vas traduire, parce que je parle pas anglais encore.
Où est la piscine?
Oh, très bien.
Speak like the tiniest amount. Cool. But you might also want to then look at reason is the ability score, which then lets you increase the number of languages you know. So just maybe bump it up just a little bit just to get another language in there. Otherwise, what we can do is we can get it so that you guys can maybe speak kind of like an optional kind of vague second language. Like I can speak French, like I can speak GCSE French, like je m'appelle Sam, j'habite en Angleterre. Do
you remember that scene of Inglourious Bastards when Brad Pitt tries to pretend he's an Italian?
I am not up to that bit yet. I had it on the other day though, as inspiration. I'll get to that because that sounds cool. So maybe there is a case where you can go, well, actually, I'm gonna, we'll need to establish this first. I'm not just going to give you guys this blanket thing of just going, I speak a tiny bit of Japanese. Like, no, you don't. But maybe there's a case of like, well, okay, well, I'm going to try this, and I can always make it a bit more difficult in those circumstances. If you don't know as much of the language and trying to converse with somebody who also doesn't speak your language. Cool. So that is, as far as I'm aware, the main mechanical parts of that. And then we actually get to pick backgrounds. So you guys should choose a background, not necessarily or with your archetype in mind, but a background really talks about where you've come from rather than who you are now. So for a couple of examples for some of the backgrounds, maybe Susie Driver isn't necessarily your background. If you're, say, a young woman like my nan at the time who was only just 19, was kind of doing her bit in the Wrens, so maybe driving is literally just a recent thing for you and you've just taken to it. Or maybe it's something else. Maybe it's a labourer, maybe it's a physician, or maybe you can take something like Navy or Army because they're the ones that have trained you up to be doing what you're doing. Equally, Virginia, it might not be that spiritual leader is one for you, because maybe it's an obvious choice. Maybe actually it's an entertainer or something, or even like an athlete or an academic or something. So have a little look, and at the end of the day, if you can't decide, I always love to inject a little bit of randomization into it, and you can always randomly roll a d20. So it's up to you guys. Prit, do you have one in mind? You are muted.
Yes, there we go.
Yes.
Sorry, I need to get a new mouse. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking that old Ward here, he wanted to get off the ranch as soon as possible, so he probably enlisted pretty early. He did the whole thing where, you know, he might have been 16, but he said he was 18, and you know, so he got in there early. So I'm thinking that either like Army or military officer would probably be a very fitting background. Maybe with his natural leadership, he was kind of, you know, he got accepted to what is it, West Point or whatever the Army one is, the Army Officer Training College.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there is a clear choice here, I think, between Army and military officer. So Army means that you are in kind of with the grunts. That could be where you've come from, and then maybe you've got a rank just recently. Whereas military officer means that you're not necessarily already decorated as a kind of a veteran, but you are certainly an officer, and everything that comes with that.
Yeah, see, I'm liking Army, and he kind of worked his way up, and this is his first kind of posting as, you know, probably because America's not over there yet, but maybe, you know, they did send some people to help out as like advisors and all that. So he's probably part of that group.
Cool. All right. So Army, and again, very similar process in terms of this for stats, like the archetypes. So your character belongs to one of the allied nations. This is infantry, or it could be tank and artillery crews, it could be logistics, but it's definitely boots on the ground. Could even be like an elite role, like the US Marine Corps or something like that too. But what attributes does that give you there?
Attributes for Army is going to give me a +2 to agility, plus brawn +2, coordination +1, and will +1. It's going to give me 3 skills: athletics +1, fighting +2, and tactics +1.
Nice. And that tactics +1 has kind of helped increase your one from before, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, what I like about, actually, I'm glad I chose this because there's a little bit of variance with giving me a little bit of agility boost and brawn, but also doubling up on like fighting and tactics. So I like that.
Very cool. Very cool.
And so then choose one focus from fighting and one focus. Wait a minute. One focus from fighting.
Yes.
And one focus from any other skill.
Yeah. So there's just one focus from fighting. And then one
so if I already have a focus in fighting, so now I have 2 focuses.
So fighting is a skill, yeah. So when you've got the
you mean one of the specific fighting? Okay, never mind. I got you.
Yeah, when you've got one of the listed ones. Let me just have a very quick scroll up because then I can demonstrate a little bit of that for the folks that are watching as well.
Yeah, I have like 20 windows open, so it's kind of hard to.
Yeah, no worries. So
some of the fighting focus for now.
Yeah, no, that's good. So some of the fighting focuses are hand-to-hand combat, which covers the actual kind of palm and fist strikes. Might represent some training in some kind of martial arts, or even kind of like boxing or something like that. Melee weapons, fisticuffs. Might actually be a good name for it. Melee weapons gives you kind of coverage of knives, bayonets, even all the kind of older traditional weapons like swords, spears, and that kind of thing, which you could come across if you've kind of found in the antiques or something like that. Then obviously we've got something like handguns, which is all your sidearms. They're your one-handed pistols, revolvers, that kind of thing. Close quarters then handles your shotguns and submachine guns. So it's something that's a little bit larger than a pistol, but operates in similar kind of effect and is very much designed for close quarter fighting within buildings and stuff like that. Then rifles gives you the kind of standard long arms of infantry, everything from the trusty Grand to the carbines of like the I think the Tommy gun might be under close quarters, it might be under rifles, but carbines like that would also come under rifles. And then we've got heavy weapons as well, stuff like machine guns, flamethrowers, big anti-tank weapons, even stuff like mortars and artillery and stuff like that. And then you've also got a couple of cool things here. Threat awareness, which covers you detecting danger in hostile territory, and it's your kind of ability to avoid attacks and ambushes and stuff. So it might be that actually I ask you guys to like roll a group check to see an ambush happening that I'm not telling you about, and I'd say, well, actually that's going to apply here, and you can use that focus. And then we've also got exotic, which is anything out of the ordinary, including any kind of traditional weapons as well that might be kind of slightly weirder in terms of from your background. So kind of any kind of martial arts specialist weapons like that. Maybe like something like a katana or something like the sai or something like that. Or weird spy weapons that Callum's holding up. What is that?
Oh.
That's an incendiary, sorry for the pronunciation, cigarette.
Incendiary cigarette. Nice. We got to trawl that for gadgets, I think, later on down the line. Cool. Alrighty then. Oh god, I got to scroll through this again quickly. There we are. Okay, cool. So army, you are in the army now. And then talents. So you should have another tab open, if possible, for talents. And you get to choose one talent with the athletics keyword. So there are going to be some talents that share some keywords, so it's not just skill based. There may actually also be some requirements. There may be no requirements, but in this case you get to choose one with the athletics keyword. Thinking with my developer hat on for a second, I'm not sure whether that also means that you could pick one that doesn't have to have the athletics keyword in, because there are some that don't require any. There is also a couple of cool talents that you can apply a skill to, such as cautious and bold, I think are their names in this one. It's probably their names in Star Trek too.
Right. Well, wait, you say in athletics, you sure it's not fighting for talents?
I'm looking at athlete, aren't I? Well done, Sam.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, it just threw me off.
Sorry, fighting keyword. So look for the fighting keyword, and also any talent that doesn't require a keyword. So look at that.
Okay. Yeah, looking at that, like I think I'm going to go with handguns and threat awareness. Being raised on a ranch, he would have learned how to use a pistol, and having cattle. There's cattle rustlers, natural predators, things like that. So having a good awareness of your surroundings is key in order to do that. So I like that. And I kind of want to go sharpshooter with the talent and like really focus in on he's just sitting there yelling orders and firing off with his Colt 1911.
Yes.
So that's what I think I'm going to go with that.
So not only did we get the truth from your nationality, we also get a cool truth that now you can phrase that is relating to your service in the military. So my examples that I've put together are something like trained marksman, paratrooper, or like deadly commando. So I always think the best ones are quite descriptive too. So not just necessarily saying, oh, well, I'm commander or, commando or something. It's like kind of how are you set apart slightly from that, or what kind of characteristic do you have when it comes to the talent? Like, are you a risk-taking leader, or are you something like that?
I like the idea of him being like one of the early like paratroopers, like when they're first figuring this shit out, and like to be crazy enough to go up there and jump out of a plane. I mean, he's done some crazy shit in his life, so he probably would gravitate straight to that. So I like the idea of that.
Cool. So something like daredevil paratrooper, or I don't know, crazy paratrooper, something like that. I'll let you phrase it how you like, so that you put it just right. And you also gain an ammo belt. So the ammo belt is going to give you some more reloads, which you basically you can spend your ammo to just like unleash your entire clip at somebody, get some more stress, get some more damage from it, but then you have to reload. So you've got a number of reloads on you, and that ammo belt gives you 3 more. So you're all good. That's going to help you out along the line,
Nice.
down the line. Yeah. Okay. After all that, Virginia.
Yes. I think I know where I want to go because I've got an idea of what my character was doing kind of before war. And it's based off of a real life location. There is I won't name it on stream because I don't know how they feel about this, but there is a lovely bookshop that I frequent that has been going now over 100 years. So they would have existed in the time that we were playing in London. And it is a proper old-fashioned occult bookshop that was frequented by many famous occult magicians and witches. And so I want to have it that my character used to work in a... What are you looking for, Sam?
Okay.
My character used to work in either this bookshop or a bookshop like it. And that's kind of where she fell into that occult way of life, because she had access to all of these wonderful books that she could kind of peruse and read as she was working. So I'm going to kind of go for the academic background for that.
Very cool.
But yeah, it's a great little shot.
I can give you a branch of the Sphinx Reading Club.
Cool.
There you go. The first little tidbit of information about the campaign there.
I will write that down here somewhere. I'll just type it in because otherwise I'll forget. Branch of the Sphinx.
The Sphinx Reading Club. So they are also more of a society as well, and you'll know that from having worked with them. So
Yeah.
Where is this branch if it's in Britain? Because I know of other branches.
Oh, there's a real life... I'm going to pick the street that this store's actually on, which is Museum Street. Because it's
Is it
a
in
nice...
London?
It is, yes.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a nice little street, and the shop itself looks like an old kind of almost pre-Victorian store. But London in that era was really kind of properly occult. It was a great backdrop for that kind of place. So
Cool. Awesome. All right, let's have a little look at academics, see what that grabs for you. What attributes are you going to get from that?
I get +2 to coordination, +1 to insight, +2 to reason, and +1 to will.
Cool.
So that
And
will
skills as
probably
well?
be good. I get academia, observation, and persuasion.
Awesome. Cool. Nice little add with observation there as well.
Yeah.
Does that? I think that gives you a really good boost to academia as well, though, based on your other choice.
It does, yeah. Because I want to base my magic on kind of sigil magic and stuff that generally requires lots of reading books and drawing relationships between different things. So yes, it's important she can figure that out.
Fair.
Someone in chat is very close to what this bookstore is. I've just seen it in there.
Careful.
Yes, no, it's not quite Treadwell's, but that is a wonderful little shop. Yeah, and I get focuses as well. That's cool.
You do. You get to choose one focus from academia and then one focus from any other skill.
Ooh,
So,
I will have to look through those.
Defense your academia.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. And then obviously there's a theme here as well. While you choose that, you get to also then choose one talent with the academia keyword.
I think I have that open here. I was just having a look at this. I'm a bit stuck in kind of where I want to go, because book smart I really like the look of.
Yeah, you'll have to remind me of that, what that does.
So I can, if I spend momentum to obtain information, I can reduce the momentum cost of a bonus d20 later in the scene.
Oh, nice. So basically, kind of that in practice, guys, basically gets you a free extra d20. Because while it's phrased in an exacting way for the rules, it basically means you get a nice little cheeky d20. You know?
Yeah. However, there is the polyglot one, and it's not so much for like living languages, but it's all the dead languages you have to speak to read half of these books.
Callum's face, man. He just taking his thunder there.
Yeah, so I don't know, because a lot of these books, I don't know how much language is going to be important in terms of dead languages, because if there's going to be lots of like reading ancient Latin, ancient Greek, or kind of any occulty stuff that's to do with like gematria and ancient Hebrew, I would want to take Eldritch? That. But do I read Eldritch? I mean, probably technically yes.
Sure.
So yeah,
I would go with what you think. I would go with what you think.
Can I ask you one thing?
Shadows of Atlantis.
I kind of feel like I'm going to need ancient languages. I feel like that's going to be a thing.
But you can get them through reason, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And I would imagine that you would have high reason to.
Yeah. Okay. In that case, then. Sorry, I'm just reading the other ones.
No, that's okay.
Do you know what? I will take Library Dweller, because that's like you're at home amongst books, and if I attempt an academia test to research a subject, I can gain some bonus momentum. So perhaps dead languages I'm not so familiar with, I can try and recall book knowledge about them.
Sure. So you're more into the kind of treatises on stuff and what people have written about the occult.
Yeah, so it's kind of that, and recalling kind of reference occult books and being like, which book did I read that in, and what did it tell me? That kind of, because there's lots in occult books.
Yeah, sure.
There are many.
Cool.
I will go for that.
Right. So you also then get to choose a truth from the list, or create your own based on your academic background. So you could be a doctor of something, you could be a museum curator, you could be professor of something like a subject. But yeah, this truth is absolutely up for you to define based on this background.
Cool. I will probably pick something to do with her kind of being something within that shop. So perhaps whatever it was that she did, perhaps she curated the book collection that they sell, or something along those lines.
Sure, cool. No worries. I'll let you figure that one out.
Yeah.
This does say you also have access to a library or laboratory. I'm guessing it's that library.
It's the library of that bookshop.
Cool. All right. Lovely. Okie dokie. Susie, you are up next. What are you thinking?
All right. Well, initially I was drawn to Labor because I like the idea of her being like a factory lass that's like just going, no, I'll punch some Nazis in tentacles. It sounds great. But I feel like being a young, plucky Yorkshire woman, she would have joined the WAF as soon as she possibly could, the Auxiliary Air Force, and they would have trained her more in driving and stuff, because women weren't allowed to fly planes. But she would have, she'd have hopped on board straight away with the driving, and I feel like she'd taken to that a lot. So Air Force, I'm feeling like going for.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I think there were a couple of female pilots now that I'm hearing more about. But they're the exception, right?
Yeah, exception rather than the rule.
Yeah.
In Soviet
I'm not going to dwell on
a lot of pilots.
Yeah. I'm honestly not going to dwell on that. If you want to be in the Air Force, you can be in the Air Force. We're this is a World War II game with tentacles. I'm sure that your sex gender is not going to be an issue with what role you want to take. So let's have a look at Air Force then.
I like the idea that she was part of the logistics area rather than the bombing raids.
Yeah.
She might have had basic maybe pilot training, like just in case anybody on base needed to be out. Yeah.
My grandfather fixed bombers and fighters here in the UK during the war, so that is absolutely speaking to my heart. That's cool. That's awesome. So attributes, what does that give you there?
That gives me +1 to agility, +2 to coordination, +2 to insight, and +1 to reason.
Cool. So coordination's probably going to be one of your main attributes there when it comes to your driving, piloting abilities. A bit of insight there as well for judging distance, judging speeds, and that kind of thing as well. Maybe agility too. Honestly, I've not checked back with these rules too much this week. I've had other stuff on, so I might be thinking incorrectly there. But one of those definitely going to be a big factor in your main skill checks. Speaking of skills, what we got there?
Oh, well, we've got a +1 to engineering, +1 to tactics, and +2 to vehicles.
Cool. Of course, vehicles.
Been very good at vehicles, yeah.
And so this is the theme here. So one focus from vehicles, and then a focus from any other skill, and then also a talent with the vehicles keyword too.
Yes. So I feel like the focus I would take from vehicles then, if I'm doing the Air Force, then aircraft.
Cool.
I could probably fly like a little plane.
This is, this is pulp. So you can, not only can you fix them, you can fly them, you can shoot at them, you can do all sorts. Yeah.
There's not a thing I can't drive.
Exactly. That sounds like an amazing truth.
Yes, that's my truth. There's not a thing I can't drive.
That's an amazing truth. Yes, love it.
My other focus,
So you
I think
bear in
maybe
mind, it's not really going to help you if you've only got like a 1 in it in terms of the skill. So definitely pick something with a 2 or more. Maybe either at the moment or something that you're going to get a little bit later on.
Yeah. I don't know. I might have to come back to you with that one. There's too many options.
No worries. You can always just fill it in as we're going through anyway.
Yeah.
So we've got your truth. There's nothing I can't drive. I love it. And then you've already got some mechanics tools. So,
yep.
Oh no, you've got the vehicle, haven't you? You've got the 4x4.
Yes.
So here's the snag. Do you want mechanics tools or do you want access to an aircraft?
Oh.
I mean, there's a very obvious answer here.
I think I know it.
I think I'm gonna have access to an aircraft.
You can steal
the
something
worst
else's
mechanic in the world. I have no tools of my own, but look at all my vehicles.
Just constantly borrowing everyone else's tools.
Just kind of rusting out there.
But, I mean, she provides the ride, so that's sure.
Yeah, don't piss her off.
Yeah,
it's quick
rolling you over the.
yeah.
Let me borrow that wrench and I'll fly you across the channel.
Cool. So my homework at work this week will be figuring out what plane I can give you.
Yes.
If the Land Rover can fit in the plane, it's better.
Oh my God! Yes.
Yes.
I will find the plane for you, Sam. I will look it up for you.
Okay,
You
cool.
put my Jeep in a plane.
Any suggestions in chat would also be awesome.
Oh my God! Right, my Jeep goes in the plane. Everybody goes in the Jeep. Then I press the out button, and then we all go out of the plane in the Jeep.
Are we at the point at which we are throwing vehicles out of planes? Are we? I don't know.
Already, session 0, and there we are.
Well, there's tentacles, so...
Mate, it's...
And my guy will always jump out before the vehicle and like clear the way.
That is going to be amazing. I cannot wait.
Yes.
Okay. Shauna, give me a bit more sensible, down to earth. What's going on here?
It's not going to be as flash as driving a vehicle out of a flying plane, but I think for Sophia, I'm also probably going to be going academic, as I imagine she was a researcher at like the British Museum during that time.
Okay, nice.
Because there's some interesting stuff about them like preparing to like move all their artifacts and stuff from the museum once like it starts ramping up toward war.
I'm going to pop that down. That's a great little point. Moving artifacts.
And that's on the same street. That's like the same museum street. So maybe Ervinia's character are like close proximity to each other.
Well, this is it. I mean, like, maybe you know each other. We were going to draw some links a bit later on. Not only that, but with an NPC that's going to be quite key to our adventures. So we are going to establish some relationships. later on too. So let's go through this again for us. Let's remind ourselves. So Shauna, what attributes are you going to get from that?
Coordination +2, insight +1, reason +2, and will +1.
Nice, cool. And then skills as well. Academia +2, isn't there? There's that gem.
Yep.
And then what else is there?
Observation +1 and persuasion +1.
Cool. And then focuses. One from academia, obviously, as we maintain the theme, and one focus from any other skill too. And then you can also choose a talent from the academia keyword.
Yes. Yeah, so I think for mine, it's going to be sight for observation.
Cool.
And then what do I have? History for academia.
Oh, cool, nice. I think that's gonna help us out on an adventure about Atlantis.
And then
we have to crack out all the really historical sections of the campaign, I think. Yeah. Cool. Okay. And then we've got a truth. Something you can create yourself, or maybe if you want to pick from the list, we've got you better be a doctor of something, museum curator, something like that, or a professor of a certain subject.
I think I'd like to stick with museum researcher, I think.
Cool. Awesome. And then it says, belongings-wise, you have access to a library or laboratory. I think we can totally just rephrase library and keep it very much the same. It might also be that, we even bring in some kind of slightly more different narrative elements to it as well. So it's not only that you can necessarily find documents and matter like that, but also actual artifacts and kind of cool stuff like that too as well.
Nice.
That'd be quite cool.
Yeah.
And then we are looking at Callum, you're next up, isn't it? That's everything for academic. Cool.
Yep. So my background, I'm gonna pick resistance. So of course we are in 1939. There's no resistance in France, which is not under attack yet. But last April, the Spanish Civil War ended, and the Spanish Republicans are already having a kind of resistance. And by the way, a little tidbit of information: they're going to be the first to enter Paris to liberate it with the Nueve, the 9th Brigade. Anyway, so resistance. I'm going to have a +1 in agility, a +1 in coordination, taking it to 8, a +2 in reason, taking it to 9, a +2 in will, bringing it to 10. And my skills are +1 in persuasion, +2 in stealth, +1 in tactics. I need to pick a focus from stealth and one focus from any other skill. I'm going to pick urban stealth from stealth, and I'm going to pick linguistics from academia because it's a prerequisite for something else I want to pick later. And talents, I'm going to choose a talent with the stealth keyword, face in the crowd.
Oh, nice. What does that give you?
Let me check. So face in the crowd. When relevant, enemies attempting an observation test to notice me within a group of other people increase the difficulty of their test of +1. So I just blend very well.
Yeah. So you're making a test more difficult for them. Okay, cool. And then you get a truth either from the list here, or you can create your own based on your resistance kind of background there. So like a confident saboteur, you could be an ally's double agent, or a reliant cell leader, that kind of thing.
I will make up my own. I will call it a been hit before underground liaison. So I'm in touch with the Spanish Republicans who are all over Europe, especially in France. And I'm not giving away my contact to whoever is in charge of intelligence in Britain at the time. But I've been betrayed a couple of times, so check out Maydays on Wikipedia. And so I'm quite careful and untrustful of people around me.
Oh, okay, cool. Can you go into a little bit more detail for me about the kind of the May Day stuff and some of the Spanish Civil War stuff? I'm looking to try and bring in some of that as well to link into part of the campaign.
You mean right now or later?
Yeah, no, absolutely now, man.
Now, okay. Well, we're jumping a bit into what will be my characteristic, which will be that I'm planning to have been a militant from something called the POOM, which is a sort of Marxist militants. There's a movie about them called Land and Freedom by Ken Loach, which I recommend. Mm-hmm. And one of the things of the POOM, the side of the Republicans was rather complicated, with a lot of groups with different ideals, different views of what being left-wing, Democrat and anti-fascist could be. And the people of the POOM, alongside other people, were actually stabbed in the back by Stalin and by, weirdly enough, the bourgeoisie in Barcelona. So it was kind of a mini civil war within the civil war, when these people fighting the fascists, all of them were fighting the fascists, suddenly started fighting each other. So my character will have fled those events, disconnected a bit from all of that, and as time passed, remade these connections with people. But it's going to be, while being pretty much on the far left, staunchly anti-authoritarian and anti-Stalin from that situation.
That's perfect. It just frames that for me a little bit better, so that I can introduce that element to the game, which would be really cool. Looking forward to that particularly. Alrighty, we are roaring ahead, and we are on to part 4, step 4.
Wait, my belongings!
Oh man, belongings. Thought you'd run away. I've gone right past it. Right, resistance.
I got it in front of me. So I can have either a piece of covered communication equipment, a saboteur's kit, a weapon restriction 2 or lower, or access to a safe house. I'm going to pick the weapon of restriction 2. So it's going to be sorry to be specific, a self-loading 7mm .65 Ruby, which is a French World War I weapon which was manufactured a lot in Spain. Pretty much is a very small pistol. So it's a concealed pistol, and it goes alongside with the custom-made silencer.
Cool. All right. I definitely got stats for that, so we can work that out in between gigs. That's all good. We'll work that out. Awesome. So now on to step 4, which is characteristics. Now this is the kind of the final, kind of one of the big 3 choices that we get to make for our player characters. It's basically what marks you out as distinctive or unusual or extraordinary in some way. It doesn't necessarily apply to a background as such, but maybe it is a key event in your life, or maybe it's something about you that maybe indicates why you're getting into the secret war. So why you're going to be drawn away from the front lines necessarily if you're on them, or kind of thrust into this weird occult kind of game of the secret war. So we've got quite a few in terms of 20. We've got things like bookworm. We've even got conscientious objectors, an experimental subject maybe as well. Maybe you own an occult artifact. Maybe you're just a street kid, or even a veteran of the Great War, which is the current kind of moniker for World War I as we know it now. So Prit, have you got any ideas there, or did you want to roll randomly?
I just noticed that you don't have the third one in the list up in the roll list, because I saw built like a brick outhouse, and I'm like, I mean, come on, everything's bigger in Texas. So it's that's
we don't.
That's just
definitely missed
that's
that.
just a saying. So yeah, I think I'm gonna be built like a brick shithouse. So I really like that.
Cool.
So attributes, I get +1 to brawn, +1 to coordination, and +1 to any other attribute.
Yeah. So at this point, we managed to get a little bit of choice involved now as well.
Mm-hmm. And that leaves me with a 9 brawn and a 10 coordination, and a +1 and another one. I have to figure out what I want there. I'm thinking either reason or will to get that up to a 9.
Will could quite well help you out in terms of your ability to carry on under fire and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, then I'm going to do that. We'll put it. So I'll have a 9 will. Yeah, I like it. And then skills. It gives me +1 to athletics, a +1 to fighting, which will bring my fighting to the max, I believe, for skills, which is 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. +1 to resilience, which I think is probably going to be pretty important. And a +1 to any other skill. I don't have anything in observation. I don't know. I think maybe a leader should have something in observation, right?
What stealthy you are, you big tall guy standing out in the crowd.
You know what? No. Actually, I like that. I already have a 1 in stealth, so now I'll have a 2 in stealth, and I'm just like this, it's just like people try to look past the tall guy because it's just like, get out of the way, asshole. And so it's
You're
kind of hides
for everyone else.
Actually, I was saying that I thought it would be funny that you would not be stealthy at all.
He surprises you. Yeah, he's got plenty of surprises. All right, talents. I choose 1 talent with the athletics or resilience keyword. Let's see. And then, and I'll look at that here in a second. And then a truth, use built like a brick outhouse, truth, or make one up related to your towering stature, which I think I just have to type out. Everything's bigger than Texas.
Yes. Although we had some suggestions in chat that a Texas outhouse is just a barn to everyone else. So I don't know.
No. We actually have outhouses. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I have used an outhouse before. I was traveling. It wasn't anyone that I grew up or lived at, but yes, it's like a barn but smaller. It's like a porta potty that
with a hole in it.
I mean, you're just shitting in a hole. That's fine. But you get no belongings. That's fine.
No.
All right. Cool.
Not for now. Although any suggestions would be welcome.
Mm-hmm. I'll think about it.
Back. I'm Texan. Like that.
All
cool.
right.
That was quite quick. Good. That was you. So Virginia, what are you going
Yeah.
for?
No, I know what I want to go for. I'm going to go for own an occult artifact.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Let's look at number 10.
I think everyone could guess I was going to do that, but
I thought about selecting that as a joke.
I have many behind me.
I told you, no real magic on stream.
I promise, no real magic on stream. Just pretend magic.
So it's either a weapon that can be turned on the Third Reich, the soul of a trapped monstrosity, or a fragment of amigo picked from posterity. You decide whether it can be employed successfully or is simply too dangerous to use. That's a flavor text. So you've got a thing that we have got to figure out in between, like right now and the beginning of next session.
I can make that super easy for you because I can tell you exactly what they're used for in detail another time. But I want to go for my contribution to this one bit of text was belongings, so I'm going to go for an obsidian scrying mirror.
Okay.
Because I actually own one of those, and that's fun.
We'll figure out what that does in between.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sweet.
So just think like Melisandre and Flames, except not quite as vivid, but also black scrying mirror, which just looks cooler.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's belongings. That's all sorted. But then attributes. You want to lead me through that?
So I get +1 to reason, +1 to will, and +1 to any other attribute, which knowing will either be coordination or insight, I think, for me.
What have you got at the moment in terms of attributes then?
I've got agility 7, brawn 6, coordination 8, insight 9, reason 9, will 9.
Okay, nice.
So
I mean,
I think I'm going to be a bit.
Got a dumps out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to be a bit too squishy to be up close. You know, bookstore curator does not sound like somebody who needs to be close up a firefight. So I'm hoping that if I have decent coordination, I can maybe do something from a distance.
Yeah, coordination is your default shooty ability.
Yes.
So it's a good shout.
Yeah. Skills, I get to choose. I can have +1 to either observation, persuasion, or stealth. I think that's probably going to be stealth because it's pretty low.
Okay.
+1 to my resilience, and then +1 to 2 other skills. So I'll probably pick something that might help me out. Maybe some fighting just in case.
Cool.
And then I get a talent with the weird keyword. That makes me happy.
So just as a quick note, you only get to pick one talent with a spellcasting keyword, or the kind of spellcaster as part of it. So you have to pick a different one.
I can't use the weird keyword. Cool.
So you can, just not the spellcaster keyword.
Right.
Because you've already got that from your archetype.
Yeah. Can I pick the one that says you may only select this if you're a spellcaster?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. I will go for mystical power then. So apparently I have delved deep into the immortal mysteries of the mythos and the secrets of time, and returned with greater aptitude for magical endeavors. So it just increases my spellcasting power.
All right.
But sure.
I'm going to come back to that. You should ponder on what that is, and we'll figure that out maybe a little bit later, and then we'll...
As in, how did I drive myself that crazy in the first place?
Yeah, like... New phone, who dis? What that? And why you do that? So yeah, well, I think we should. There's definitely a plot thread to pull at to figure out a little bit of that, and totally use later to screw you over. It's fine.
Sure, I'm up for it.
Cool. All right. So with your truth, either use own an occult artifact truth. Maybe name the artifact, or you can make up your own about your propriety over the item.
Cool.
Any quick ideas now, or are you just figuring that out?
It's to do with how I acquired it, isn't it?
Can be. It can do with how you own it. It can do with the artifact itself, maybe, and maybe it's linked to you somehow if it is kind of spiritually linked.
Okay, I will have a think and come back to that.
Cool. No worries. And we've got your occult artifact. All right. Cool. Well, let's move on to you then, Susie. What have we got in store for us here?
I really like the look of Street Kid, but reflavoring it so it's grim up north. Like it's tough up north in the north of England. Like it's not a particularly wealthy place, so it would have been tough growing up. You got to work hard for what you've got. I feel like that could be the name of the truth too. It's grim up north.
I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah.
Cool. So for my attributes for that, it gives me Brawn +1, Coordination +1, and Reason +1.
Awesome.
So Elsie's getting pretty buff. She's a buff lady.
Yeah. How are you looking across the board there?
So at the minute we've got Agility 7, Coordination 10, Reason 9, Brawn 7, Insight 9, Will 6. So she's not got a lot of willpower.
No.
But she's pretty good elsewhere.
Yeah, nice. Cool, I like that. And then skills we move on to there.
Yep, so skills give us Resilience +1, Survival +1, Stealth +1, and +1 to any other skill except Academia.
Yeah, sorry lass.
It's right, I went to School of Hard Knocks, I don't need books. I feel like I'll put that skill in vehicles. She's a very practical person,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the Secret War needs all kinds of people.
Exactly. All classes, all kinds.
Yeah. And then choose a talent with the survival keyword.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I looked at survival. I saw that you could get a dog and literally could not read any of the other ones because I saw a companion.
So
I
we're
just
going
want a dog.
a jeep, the rest of the investigation team, and a poor canine out of the back of a plane. Is this right?
It's got little goggles. It'd be okay.
Doggles! Yes!
Yeah. Sam, do dogs still have the good boy talent?
I believe so, yeah.
It should by default.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real thing.
Goodest boy.
Yeah, good boy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
can I have a dog, please?
Yes, you can have a dog.
Need to give him the flyboy talent. And you need to write a talent called flyboy.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Well, Nathan, our other rules developer, is in the stream, so is in the chat. So he's watching. He's taking notes, I'm guessing. Yeah, I think we are going to need a name though, Suze. Either from you or from chat. Like we're going to need.
We're gonna need a good name for this dog. What kind of dog would he be too? He's gotta be a real good boy.
Yorkshire
How do you
Terrier.
choose?
I mean, he could be a Yorkshire Terrier, but those things are evil. Have you seen Yorkshire Terriers?
Yeah.
He could be evil. That would be great.
I don't want an evil dog. He's gotta be a good boy.
I mean, you got an English bulldog. If you want to do a little irony, we could do a German Shepherd.
Ooh, I like that.
Use the enemy's dog against them.
Corgi
We've
and
had
extra legs.
Of
A little
Biggles.
fat corgi with little doggles on.
A little fat corgi. We're taking a war corgi. We're not taking a war corgi.
A warg? A wargie?
Chat has got the best name. He's called
Oh my
Tetley.
Oh my god. My
Tetley the
sister-in-law's
pup.
cat's named Tetley.
Yes.
That's decent.
No, I just want. I don't know many talented people are listening to Encounter Roleplay show, but I want to see that art of our group in the jeep with the
Wait,
dog
man.
jumping up on that airplane.
Going out the back of the plane.
Talk to Susie
Yes.
really nicely. She might do it. She might skip it.
You have been challenged.
So we have Tetley the battle pup.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Sam. You were like,
Is it a corgi?
I mean, I would
Yeah.
love him to be a corgi. I think he
Alright.
should be a corgi. You know,
Picturing
because you know
this-
the Queen drove ambulances and the Queen has corgis. So you know, I'm only taking after my beloved monarch.
I'm spotting a theme. here.
Yes, queen.
Have you thought of consequences? Like, no, I picture a
make you
scene
ready.
like, drop your weapon. I've got the dog.
Well, then
Thanks
what
for that.
happens is Elsie goes on a rampage.
Yeah, thanks for that, Callum. Yes, you can totally have a dog. Just writing down dog abduction.
Don't you hurt my dog?
Yeah,
Don't you hurt my dog?
you obviously haven't watched the Warhammer game that we did last couple seasons. No pet was safe. Jim Davis is an
I
a-hole.
think I
that
caught
way.
a bit of that, yeah.
Maybe it's
It
don't
will be
touch the
good
dog.
drama.
Sam, at least kill him if you're gonna do it. At least do it on screen. Don't do it in a cutscene like away
Oh yeah,
from the camera.
no. If you're going to break my heart, Sam, at least look
Oh.
at me while you do it.
No. Do you know what I can tell you lot from the very start? The X card is going to be played. I have a real thing about like animal jeopardy, so I'm not. That corgi is going to be made of iron.
Yeah. Well,
Just have the corgi like in like a backpack or something.
Oh my god, we
He
should
can't be
call him
exploded.
Sherman because he'll be a
Papoose.
little tank.
Sherman.
Sherman. He's a little tank. There we go.
He's going to get like the longest name in history, like Tetley Sherman.
Sherman Tetley.
Sherman Tetley
Tetley.
is a great name.
Sherman
Not a bad
Tetley,
name.
The corgi.
Someone in
right,
chat has just put the title "The Iron Corgi," so I think we should have Sherman Tetley, the Iron
yeah, that-
Corgi. I think it's
yeah,
a
that's-
battle name.
That's Charlie. She's from the Warhammer game, and like she just said,
Oh,
no pets are safe with Jim Davis.
Oh my god.
You do what you want. I'm used to it.
Sure.
So
I mean, this is like some this is like some graphic novel that I maybe heard of.
Sherman Tetley, the Iron Corgi Breathway.
The Iron Corgi. It's good to defeat the Nazi, the Third Reich on his own, isn't he?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, I just imagine him running with like a little grenade in his mouth. You know the German, the steel hand grenade,
pineapple?
the long ones?
Yeah.
Fetch!
No, don't fetch.
No. Well, no. You would train him to run behind the wall with it. He would catch the little pin on something and then drop it at the German's feet and run away, so they never even knew it was there.
What is this?
I mean, Sam has just basically told us the dog is now indestructible.
I think the reaction GIF folder is now full, starting this last 5 minutes.
Oh, God. Let's take a minute, I think. Oh. Okay.
I found a pic, by the way. I posted it in the private chat.
Oh, okay. Post in the chat. Where is this?
Oh, yeah. But isn't that driving stuff slow then?
I don't know.
Sorry, I'm new to this, everyone.
Is it the dog? Have you found a picture of a dog?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh my god.
My wife is messaging me, telling it should be a cat.
I mean, I'm a cat person, but I think a dog is more apt.
Me too. But I can't resist.
It's really cute.
I can't resist the battle corgi.
Can someone post the link in the chat because I'm gonna. I cannot post links in the chat. I think.
Oh yeah, you have to be a moderator.
Uh,
I don't think I can either.
Oh no, we've got it.
There it is. Yep.
oh.
Yeah.
Everyone in
Oh
chat
yes.
enjoy.
Good. He's such a good boy. Look at him.
Oh,
Sherman. Just look at him go.
I just found next week's promo picture, right?
please tell me that when war breaks out, that leather jacket, you know, like they used to like paint on the side of like bombs and stuff. He just has the iron corgi painted across like the equivalent of the shoulders.
And then just little bones just going along with how many he's had.
How many he's kills.
We're all adults here, we swear.
Yeah.
This is a serious game about serious things for serious people.
Mm-hmm.
Damn right it is. This is the important work right here.
And I've been digging in history for dark background with fight against fascism.
Yeah, but Calamate, you've not got a dog, have you?
I think my character is a cat person, I think.
Sure.
Mm.
You're gonna have a
the
dodgy
war, why the war
relationship with
lasted
this
so long.
Well, I found
Alright.
a picture.
Oh,
Have you got any idea for a truth there, Susie? Any idea?
I think we were going to use its Grim Up North because it's like relating to
yeah.
a background.
That was great. Yeah, I love that. You have a lucky charm or some other token of good fortune from your early life.
I think she has a lucky spanner, and it was her dad's spanner, and she used to
Nice.
like help him fix stuff, and then he sort of handed it off to her as like a a passing of the baton.
And this way you got a
Nice.
tool.
He had the spanner
One
now.
spanner, an airplane.
Gaming the
Oh,
system.
Just
I
one
mean, I
spanner.
did notice.
Lucky spanner.
Folks, that's how you do it at home. That's how you get around them rules.
Well, and see,
I
your
get
good
that.
boy can go grab tools from other people and come back, and they won't be mad because he's a dog.
Yeah.
Nice.
Or maybe he's got a tool belt. He's got all the tools.
Oh,
The dog is my toolbox.
yes.
If you all aren't Googling doggy tool belts right now,
I can open my 100th window.
I kind of feel like we're derailing this already.
Wow, there's.
I'm so sorry.
As it is.
I mean,
No,
there's
No,
a lot
no,
here.
This is good. There's some good.
I can't find it. I can find a
I
corgi.
need to find the picture. There's no corgi, but there's a good like Shiba.
Found a good bulldog.
That was a massive weird link. Anywho. Oh my. Oh my.
Oh.
Doggy tool belt.
Oh, that's very good.
I'll let you have that. I'll let you have that. All right.
Oh.
Shauna, we are over to you.
I can't.
What are we looking
Can't
at?
follow that up the dog tool belt. It's so cute, but I think I'm gonna go.
This will take a
bookworm,
minute.
'cause it fits with everything.
Bookworm.
Also, the
Lovely.
belongings. I love the belongings in this one.
Awesome. Yeah, of course. Let's start with that. So you have books and journals related to your study that support
Yes.
your factual knowledge. The more that unravels during the campaign.
Yeah,
we'll
I just
see.
like
We'll see.
the idea of just dragging this, just like this barely useful bag of books with me.
and just like loose leaves just kind of fluttering away as you kind of like, what? But this is a thing.
Yes.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. So it says here, you're the one that knows obscure facts and strange statistics. You'd rather spend your free time in your nose in a book than anything else. So what attributes does that give you there?
That gives me the attributes of insight +1, reason +1, and a +1 to any other attribute. And I think I'm going to put that into coordination.
Cool. How are you looking across the board there for attributes? What are your skills?
Agility 7, Brawn 6, Coordination 10, Insight 10, Reason 11, and Will 7.
That's pretty specialized. Pretty cool though. Some good ones there. Skills-wise, then, what does Bookworm give you there? For that?
Bookworm gives me Academia +1, and a +1 to any other 3 skills. No skill may be chosen twice.
So it's a nice kind of broad range for you to back up what you've been researching and stuff, I think there.
So I think what I did was I'm going with engineering, fighting, and observation as my 3.
Cool. Yeah. Nice to back yourself up there with a little bit of fighting, I think.
A little bit.
Yeah. That's fair. And then a talent with the academia keyword. Unfortunately, no pets in the academia branch, I'm afraid.
Unfortunate. But I did like the talent deep expertise.
Just remind me, what does that give you there?
You're expert in many fields. You gain additional focus for each skill in which you have a rating of 3 or higher. After taking this talent, if any of your skills are increased to 3, you immediately gain 1 additional focus.
Cool. So, just remind yourself when we do those final steps, just to check through everything, make sure that we give you that 1 extra focus for any skills that you've got with a 3 or more. Cool. And then, truth. You can use Bookworm if you want, or you could make up your own related to your love of the written word.
I kind of like Bookworm because it can be both positive and negative depending on what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's it for truths as well. It can make something harder or easier for you, or it can actually make something impossible or possible where it wasn't before. So that's exactly the right kind of thinking. Cool. All right. And Callum, what were you thinking of? Or is there going to be any random D20 rolls tonight?
No randomness here.
Okay.
So I said my character was Walloon, and he's from Marcinelle, a black country mining town. And in 1914, something happened around the area called the Battle of Charleroi, which because Belgium and Wallonia has been under the occupation of the Germans, and there's been a lot of stuff going on. My character being born in 1911, at the age of 3, this stuff was going on. So his war started early. And to reinforce that, as I said earlier, my war started early. Brackets, I was a PUM militant in Spain from 1936. So my attributes going to be agility +1, brawn +1, coordination +1, taking it to 9. My skills fighting +1, medicine +1, +2 other skills of choice, resilience from 1 to 2. And athletics, because running is always a good thing to have in any role-playing game. I can pick a talent with the keyword, with the fighting or medicine keyword, and now because I was a militant in the PUM, in the Spanish Civil War, alongside Germans, Polish, Italians, Canadians, British, I'm going to plead with you, Sam, to allow me to take polyglots, for which I got the requirements, but it doesn't have the keyword fighting or medicine. Please, Sam, allow me to be a polyglot.
I will let you have that.
Thank you.
We've got to have someone who speaks lots of languages.
Yes. I mean, with the idea of what happened in Charleroi and the immigrant background, I think my father got killed and my mother got back with a miner who was from Polish origins. So I had half brothers and sister were Polish, and probably a lot of other siblings which you could play with. But yeah, I will speak Polish, German, a bunch load of useful languages. Not Eldritch, but and my truth quite simply will be my war started early because it's very core to the character.
Cool, very cool. I have no cat. I'm jealous.
Oh.
So I'm left with a belonging, family belonging, like a family, your father's watch, or a cultural religious item you carry. And I would like a sweet Spanish Civil War medical volunteer leather jacket. Look at these gentlemen on the. Oops, that's difficult to orient.
Right a bit, left a bit, right a bit, down a bit, down a bit.
Oh, and those guys, dapper.
Them jackets,
These are British medical volunteers. So they were civilians who volunteered to serve as ambulance drivers in Barcelona in 1937. And they got a pretty sweet leather jacket and breeches.
Cool. All right. That's your thing. Nice. Cool. Very cool indeed. All right. So that basically is all of our choices that we've made. We've got some characters now. All the sheets are fairly populated. So now we're going to get some finishing touches done. This is the final bit of character creation. So now we're just going to look at final values, guys. What you should do is you should have, I know it says at least 2 truths, you should have 3 truths. You should have your nationality, you should have a truth based on your background, you should also have a truth based on your characteristic. If you don't, please let me know now. I think we covered it though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Awesome. And then attributes. There should be all attributes should be at least 6, and there should be no higher than 11. If there are, please readjust them. You can just drop them like for like to move them around a little bit. All of your attributes added together should equal 51. Please check that for me now, just in case we've added one somewhere or not added one somewhere, just in case.
Math.
Yeah, sorry, there's a little bit of that. I wish I had some filler, and nothing springs to mind, unfortunately, from all the amazing battle corgi images that have been jumping around in chat. I particularly like the Iron Man corgi.
It's very, very good.
That's pretty sweet.
Oh.
I saw DeviantArt and I thought, has someone sketched something already? This is mad. But no, no, we're all good.
What if, like, if we get any downtime, I'd make him like a little suit of armor, like Ned Kelly. He's just wearing a bucket.
Yeah, we can look into that. Yeah, we can look into that for sure.
I'm just writing my own like character fan fiction right now. It's cool. Don't worry.
Well, I suppose it's technically canon because we're all involved. So,
Haha.
like, you are.
Wait, can the corgi have a cannon?
No.
Secret weapons of the secret war, folks. Yeah, we've got to make some crazy gadgets and stuff like that. Absolutely.
I mean, nobody expects a corgi with a cannon, so kind of a secret weapon.
Just a tiny cannon, you know.
Just a little.
Just a little one.
Trying to make imports.
Okay, we're not doing that with your corgi, but I'm looking into this for animals, and I found a explosive rat. That's not cool.
Do you remember when Americans tried to put bombs on bats and then they just like flew back and blew up the Americans instead of the Germans?
Mm-hmm. Also, I tried to train them to dolphins to intercept torpedoes.
How was it? I knew there was a dolphin one too. Yeah. Yeah, crazy times.
Poor animals.
I know. Have we got any anomalies when it comes to attributes?
I got 51.
No, I got 51.
Yeah, 51.
That is awesome. Now, skills can go no higher than 5, but you can have some skills you probably do that don't have any rating at all, so they are a 0. The total of all your skills added together should be 17. Please just quickly add those up for me now. No one's taken the dilettante talent, background. So for folks at home, the dilettante background, characteristic, so it's quite late here now. The characteristic means that you add 1 into every single skill you don't currently have a stat in. So it's very helpful for kind of a jack of all trades Master of None type character. Are we all good in terms of skills?
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome. This is very awesome. Focuses. You should have 4 focuses. Possibly except from you, Shauna, who should have some more based on your talent there.
Yep.
You do?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I have 3 extras. Yeah.
Cool. It's just good to note, because what I'll do, like it says in the text there about the dilettante characteristic, I'll actually make a note that we should add that to the focuses bit. About it was bookworm, wasn't it, that gives you that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just bolding the ones that are from that. There we go.
Awesome. Cool. So then talents, you guys should all have 3 talents. 1 from your archetype, 1 from your background, and 1 from your characteristic. Please, if you don't, have a look at the talents. This is the easy fix. Have a look at the talents in the little talents chapter I've shown you, and just flick through and pick one if you haven't. So long as you kind of at least have a skill rank in one of the skill that is the keyword for it. But I think everyone's cool with that, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I'm still picking my last one for my characteristic, or I'm deciding between something between athletics and resilience.
That's cool. We're in no rush, so just have a look and think over that. Actually, while you are, it's the perfect time. So the next kind of sidebar that we're going to have is about using magic. So V, let's maybe just go over this and have a little look at how this all works. So you are a spellcaster. So you've learnt magic by one of the following practices, and at the start of the game you are going to know 1 spell. Now you've got the magic chapter, so you've got access to spells. I genuinely don't know what she's chosen yet, so we're going to find out. But basically there are 3 ways that you can get into magic. You can also kind of do this a bit through downtime. So tradition is where you've been taught it from a mentor or something like that. So it's been handed down through generations. You have say a kind of like a kind of spiritual leader, maybe, or maybe it's a family member or something that's introduced you to the magic. Now I'm being invaded by cats. Or we can do rune weaving, which is more akin to the kind of Norse Scandinavian traditions of magic, where you channel power through runes or inscriptions that you create and hold some power to you. Now, particularly in Achtung, Cthulhu, in terms of rune magic, we lean quite a bit on that kind of Norse kind of background. But you don't have to. If there are kind of runes or inscriptions that you feel would kind of better fit your character, I mean, maybe they are a bit more kind of eldritchy or otherworldly in terms of the actual mythos, then maybe that works for you. And then equally, that is part of the tradition. Then you've got shamanism as well, and you've got druidism as well that you can look at. So shamanism is more about the kind of praising the kind of earth. It's a little bit more pagan. There's also kind of Native American influences there that we'll lean on, and particularly in the setting, the American, our American Secret War, Majestic was the group there, and basically they got the Native American peoples to help them out in terms of getting a bit more access to magic, because the Allies were a bit of a step behind when it comes to that, and the compared to the cultism of the Nazis. But then Druidism is more the kind of magical traditions of the Celtic people, and that's rooted more in kind of animalistic beliefs as well, in terms of the setting. So that's tradition. That's one way that you can learn magic. You can also learn it through research. So you're someone who's learned magic through actual intense kind of rigorous study through the access that you've got. This might work well for you in terms of access to libraries that you've had and that kind of thing. Cool. Just for the folks at home as well, and for you, the rest of you guys, there is also dabbling. So if you guys come across like a scroll or an ancient text or something, and you want to actually start to try and learn this stuff, you can only do so by being a dabbler. kind of spellcaster. So you're not as powerful as others, and it's slightly riskier for you as well. Things can misfire and miscast a lot easier. So V, if you're going down the research route, then you rely on reason as your kind of key attribute for that. You're going to have a base power of 2 challenge dice.
Yep.
And you can learn any spell you like from the list. So just a quick note about the 2 different dice that we use. Obviously, we use D20s, and we use pools of those to roll. Try and get equal or under on each die that we roll. Each of those will score at least 1 or 2 successes. And then challenge dice are our D6 dice. And they are kind of custom faced, but you can use normal D6s at home in your own games. And they basically score kind of damage, or what we call stress. But they also kind of, if you're working on a kind of longer problem that actually takes some time, and we've got a kind of like a stress track for the problem, and we're knocking off stress as we go. Rituals, V, are quite a key part of that too. Then you'll be rolling challenge dice to do some work on those and actually tick off some of the stress boxes. So the first phase scores 1 stress, the second phase scores 2. We ignore 3 and 4, and then a 5 and a 6 is what we call an effect. Now, like a combat effect or a kind of ritual effect will happen, whereby like a quality of one of your weapons will come into play. Or it might be that a particular ritual you're doing or a particular like talent that you have will enable you to kind of influence them in a better way. So you get some bonus momentum or something like that. Yeah, in chat, this is exactly it. So extended tasks, we've been working on them a bit for this edition of 2D20. And they should appear in more. And they work very similarly to combat mechanics, basically. They're a pacing thing. And so they work very similarly to stress tracks and injuries that you've got to tick off as well. And we'll come to that in just a little bit later with these guys as well. So, any bonus languages for you guys? If you have a 9 or a 10 in your reason score, then you know a bonus language. And if you're lucky to have 11 in your in your reason score, then you get 2 bonus languages instead. And nice. Okay, so we've got the first wild magic surge to help you in the future. So yeah, so obviously we're not playing very much tonight in terms of that, but yeah, V, we'll get you a little magic surge later on down the line in the first session, either a positive or a negative. I think bit of a random thing going on.
That's going to be fun. Sam, I have picked my spell because it works with that weird talent I got that gave me some bonus power and my occult artifact. You want me just to put it in my character sheet and I can tell you about it later? Or
yeah, definitely. We'll figure that out a bit more. And I like the fact that we're going to have a bit of mystery for everyone else as well in terms of kind of what that is. Because I think out of most of the player characters, you're going to have, you know, a little bit more of that kind of mystical or mysterious presence.
And Sam, they Staffen donated for all of us to have a wild magic surge to start the game with.
Oh
So,
wow!
Yeah,
Wow.
no,
That's
it would not be an encounter roleplay session without it. So
no. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So
Thanks.
so we'll all need to roll a D10,000 before next week and figure out what that is.
yeah. So crazy, weird magic surge for everyone. Awesome. Okay. So there is a little bit there for you as well, guys, on esoteric and dead languages. If you wanted to know any of those, particularly researchers, Shauna V, you might want to look at that.
Does anyone want to take Atlantean?
So obviously, Sam, we all speak English by default. We don't need to list that.
Right.
Because I've got my list of languages. It's okay, I haven't been greedy, but I've got French, Walloon, which I don't expect to be useful, but that's a little touch. Polish, as I said, Spanish, and German.
Okay.
So that's from my 3 polyglots, and a +1 from my 9 in reason, if my calculations are correct.
Yeah, certainly, man. I'll definitely let you be able to speak some broken English to the team, and definitely to the contacts that we're going to make. But certainly, when it comes to actually skill tests to persuade people, stuff like that, it's going to be more difficult for you if you
in
don't
English.
speak English
Excellent.
properly.
It's great because I was thinking that my character is his state of mind is he tends to be much nicer with enemies than with people. He tends to be a bit rough with his allies and friends, and very sweet with his enemies. So it's funny the idea that when he engaged with the hierarchy of Section M or whatever we start with, he's struggling with that. And just a tidbit of note: Walloon could still be justify a little bit of polyglot, because you know the idea. You're polyglot, you can sort of understand stuff you don't actually really speak. Walloon is somewhat closer to Latin than French is, so it's a mix of German. So Old German and Latin, maybe I could understand a bit with a token or whatever the rule is.
I'll definitely take that in mind, particularly with the campaign as well. What's coming up too? That's really cool. Susie, you've been like finger waving for a while.
Say Elsie, she has a reason score high enough to learn another language, so she might know some French or something. She might have picked it up from.
Mon ami.
Translate. Yeah. Oh no! French translated through Yorkshire. Oh God.
Went on holiday.
I'm sorry.
once.
Anything you say will not come out that way.
Nice. Cool. All right. In addition to the personal items that were granted you guys by your archetype background and characteristic, you can gain some more items as personal gear. You can choose 1 additional item of restriction 3, 2 additional items of restriction 2, or 3 additional items of restriction 1. Now, that made sense when I wrote it down, and I realized that you can get more if you go for 2 items of restriction 2, because they're obviously that, a little bit more powerful. But I think let's kind of keep it for now. If you guys don't have any kind of clear ideas for now, we're not going to worry too much on stream about getting all that written down. But if you guys have some ideas about what you want as personal gear, that would really help. Like I say, we're not going to start in Section M. It's not going to be a kind of fully kitted out organization yet. So personal gear will be a strong one as well. So I'll introduce the rules for kind of requisition and stuff as we get further into the campaign and stuff. So I was talking a bit about stress tracks and injuries and stuff earlier. Stress tracks represent basically your hit points, how much damage you can take. And when that fills up, or if you take 5 stress at once or more, then you basically then take an injury. You can take a physical injury, or you can take a mental injury, depending on the spell or depending on the attack. Most attacks will do physical stress, but certainly a lot of spells will do some mental stress too. So stress all comes off the same track, so it doesn't matter if it's physical or mental, but it basically just kind of does matter for the type of injury you're going to receive from that. So your stress track is a kind of like number of boxes basically equal to either your brawn plus resilience or your will plus resilience, whichever one is higher. So those characters who still favor their kind of mental aptitude aren't that a detriment, so it should be good. So just work that out. We've got some boxes you can't see at home. We've got some boxes you can just like blank out or whatnot. Work that out there. All right. So there are certain bonus challenge dice that you get because of your ability scores. So you add bonus challenge dice to melee attacks based on your brawn. So if you have 9 in brawn, then you'll get +1 challenge dice. So when you're going to enter the weapons that you have and the stats there, it's got a little challenge dice rating. That's the number of challenge dice, the d6 that you'll roll, that you'll get bonus ones for these. Your character also adds bonus challenge dice to their range attacks because of insight. So you've got a better understanding of how to judge where to hit people, timing, that kind of thing. So you'll get some bonus kind of ranged attack damage, particularly, so all the kind of firearms and stuff from your insight if you've got 9. If you've got 10 or 11 in any of these that I'm mentioning, then you'll get +2 challenge dice, which should be pretty cool. And then magical and mental attacks, you'll get bonus challenge dice. It's actually based on which spell you're using and kind of what type of spell it is, essentially. So Virginia, that should, based on the kind of school of magic, I think, and the spell that you've got, should say where that bonus is going to come from. Oh, actually, isn't it the... it's the way you learn magic, I believe, but it's in the magic chapter.
Okay. I will have a search for it because it's not in the spell description that I have up, but it's probably floating around somewhere in there.
Because you're a researcher, reason is the ability score that's going to give you the challenge dice bonus.
My reason and will are at the same number anyway, so I don't think
cool.
it matters either way in terms
Is
of
that
what
10?
bonus.
Is
Yeah,
that 10 or 11?
10 for both.
Yeah. So you'll get a +2 bonus to that.
Cool.
But do check in future with the spells and stuff, kind of maybe as you learn some more or anything like that.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. We've got some names. Everyone's got some names. Virginia, you don't have a name.
I have one now. It's on my character sheet. I tried to go for the most kind of 1930 sounding name possible, but it probably doesn't work. But it is Constance Price.
Nice. Cool.
So I have a name now.
Nice. All right.
What is it?
Constance Price.
Oh, sorry, I didn't heard it.
It's all right.
Okay, that's cool. That is more or less it in terms of the actual stats and stuff. I would love to get, as we kind of come into the closing, the last kind of 25 minutes, to chat a bit about personality ideas, appearance ideas, any more kind of background stuff that you want to highlight or want to kind of make a point of. That would be really cool for me, definitely. So we've done the kind of final checks and stuff. Anything anyone want to open with? Callum, you are a font of knowledge of like the kind of World War II stuff. I love what you're coming with in terms of the Spanish Civil War, the anti-fascist resistance, stuff like that. It's definitely stuff I can weave into the game. Is there anything else about kind of maybe have you landed in England because of this? Have you gone back to Belgium? Oh, you can start there because we'll get into kind of where we begin the campaign as we discuss a little bit.
I would think he would gravitate around France a bit more. Probably in Paris, because there was literally a neighborhood of Paris filled with refugees from Spain, and those people really form a core of what would become the French resistance, but actually included a lot of Spaniards and foreigners. He wouldn't have gone back to Belgium. I mean, he could have been discreet, but actually a lot of people from the Spanish Civil War would get arrested when they went back to the countries they were from, not only in Germany and Italy, but even in France, and because they were seen as militants, etc. So I think he was pretty more a bit more in France. If you want a bit of inspiration, maybe Sam. Actually, the name of my character is a combination of two names, Georges Nop and Albert de Coninck. And Nop was a real person, a real Belgian who fought in the Spanish Civil War, and was brought back to the Great Britain by Ernest Hemingway following being shot during the May Day. So you feel free to go dig in that. I mean, just go check Wikipedia. I'll send you the link. So as I said, my father is dead. My mother is there. I think it would be fun to have a sister. An older sister who disappeared in 1914 when my father was killed by the Germans. An older brother could be interesting also if he was more on the fascist side, being maybe a member of the Rexist party in Belgium. And then a lot of Polish siblings, etc. Minor background, and one last thing I was thinking of. I mean, that's already quite a bit. If I remember it once, the others bring their own ideas. I'm sure that there's a lot. I suggested one to Prit. Maybe I don't know if you.
I'm ready to talk about it. I've got it
Go
pulled up
ahead.
and everything.
Yeah.
So of course, my guy's Captain William Christopher Ward, buddy to his friends, and his father was actually joined up with and became part of Teddy Roosevelt's Rough Riders in the Spanish-American War, and his father died in the Battle of San Juan Hill, which was kind of their big moment. And so the thing is he's got some big shoes to fill, and maybe that's why the army kind of fast tracked him a little bit. 'Cause he's got that pedigree of soldier, and so whereas his father loved riding the horses, he kind of went into paratrooping, even though he still has the growing up on a ranch. So he has I gave him animal handling as one of his foci.
Oh, that's cute. That's nice.
So, I mean, we're going to be I assume we're going to be at some point in rural France or whatever, and we'll run across some animals that maybe we can try to calm or whatever. We'll see.
Well, if they donate in chat, we're going to get mounts, we're going to get some random animals. So, yeah, I'm just waiting.
Hey, chat, be sure, try to give me Alero Bowsinger's unicorn. Another character I got a mount that was awesome. Anyway,
Nice. I'm gonna have to mythos them up a bit as well, though. I think.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Instead of a horn, it's like a tentacle. Anyway. So yeah, he's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder. Kind of trying to prove himself, step out from underneath his father's shadow, a bit. And so, maybe it might make him a little reckless, but it also, he learned a lot from his dad, even though his dad wasn't really there growing up. It was more of reading his journals and writings and stuff like that. Because he was a good family man. He wrote home all the time. So, yeah, I think that's, and I still can't figure out what my last, by the way, I switched a point from will to insight because I wanted to be good in pistols and my insight was 7. And I'm like, come on now.
That's fair.
So at least it's 8 now. So I got a pretty kind of average character, little brawny, little good in coordination. Everything else is 8. So I think that's good for a commander type. But
Nice.
Anyway, I'm going to continue trying to pick my last talent.
Cool. Shauna, what have you got before the kind of British Museum stuff? Do you think have you got maybe a particular kind of area in England that your character grew up in, or anything like that?
I'm just thinking city, kind of maybe grew up in London and stuff, and it's just maybe fairly new to the to this whole field stuff, but it's just more it's super comfortable in the research thing, but it's a little more as it gets apprehensive being outside.
Yeah, so I wonder if she's been outside of Britain, because I think there's a fair amount of field work that has been done in Britain in terms of finding about its archaeology and stuff. But do you think she would have actually been out into Europe or even beyond?
Well, probably not, because she probably did most of the research in the museum.
Sure. Okay. So it's about interpreting field work.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Cool. All right. Susanna, brush, northern lass, and then your character, right?
Yeah, and then my character. But no, I feel like Elsie comes from quite humble beginnings. She's a working class lass in the north of England. I feel like she had her grandfather that fought in the First World War.
Yeah.
And I think he maybe didn't come back. I think he went out and never came home. So he's kind of he's almost like a hero to her, almost he went out and did his king and country proud. I think she might be an only child. She hasn't really traveled much, so part of her desire to join up to the WAF is to help the home front, to play her part like her grandfather did, but also she wants to like meet people and do things, because I don't know if you know much about the north of England, but it's not very good in terms of going places. It's quite a rundown, rural sort of place. So she would want to use that as like a stepping board to meet people from other places and other things. And I feel like she's quite wide-eyed and excited, but not naive and young, but she's very eager to like take action, to do things. She's quite happy-go-lucky, and, you know, she's very warm and welcoming to people, unless you're a Nazi. And then you get the old one too.
Would be cool to find something in your background about why you speak French, coming from there.
Yeah, I think maybe it's somebody at the WAF. There's someone there who maybe is French or speaks French, and she was just like, tell me these things. This might be useful to me.
You know, a lot of Britons travel to France for the Great War, so maybe something happened there. They married, they moved to either your father, your mother, or whatever.
Yeah, maybe there's like a family connection there. Maybe her grandfather sent letters, you know, about France, and she was like, "Oh, this place, this thing." You find out about this. Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Virginia, I think you're left, aren't you?
Yeah. So I imagine that Constance had a fairly like lower middle class upbringing, and kind of found herself. She liked bookstores and reading, and then kind of came across this particular bookshop, and just had a fascination with kind of magic and the occult, and kind of slowly over a few years just got kind of enveloped in it until it was near obsession point. So it's how she ended up working there. It's how she ended up in the possession of some of the stuff that she has. And it was kind of spiraled, and that's where she ended up. There's still a bit of work to be done, because I think some of the spell that I pick and stuff will play into how she ended up where she is as well. So we'll probably have to sit down and go through that. But yeah, she might have driven herself a little bit over the edge in the process at one point, which probably leads her to present day.
Sure. Cool. All right. Well, I have a little bit of an introduction to do to you. And this is a key NPC that you all have known or do currently know somehow. And this is Alec Taunton. He ran away to sea to find his fortune rather than follow the career path his family had laid out for him. After many adventure in the varied lands of His Majesty's Empire, including time as an opal miner in the Australian outback, Lord Taunton decided to return home and set about constructing his own business empire from the contacts he had made. Part of him still craves the excitement, making his numerous business trips somewhat legendary, as he always insists on enjoying some kind of madcap adventure, be it climbing a mountain, exploring ancient ruins, or delving deep into dank, dark caves whilst away. Something happened to Lord Taunton during one of these working adventures. He never speaks of it, but the library at his ancestral pile has certainly acquired some unusual reading material over the last couple of years. He's formed some strong links with various academics at Oxford University, of late becoming friends with a visiting lecturer on a secondment from the Miskatonic University, Professor Richard Deadman. Now, I'd like you guys to figure out and let me know how you know Viscount Taunton. Whether you know him from a business trip gone awry, whether you know him some other way, whether you know him through his academic connections, or whether you know him from his actual kind of landed lordship. He has a house in Kent, so in the very southern eastern tip of England. But yes, you'll all somehow be linked and will receive a letter opening the beginning of the campaign. and lo and behold, you will all arrive at the house at the beginning of the campaign, having answered this letter. Anyone got any immediate thoughts on how they know him?
So what was his academic background?
Strictly eldritch in nature or occultist in nature. So he's made some strong links with various academics at Oxford University. Has probably taken a trip into the likes of the British Museum, probably also to your bookshop, your reading club.
I think that's probably how I would know him. He's come in and purchased books and supplies occasionally.
Sure. And he's kind of, I'd imagine, like made an impression on you. He, at this point now, is in his early 30s, but he's still got a kind of boyish charm to him that some might call an immaturity. But he's quite a charming person, and always very interested in other people as well, meeting other people, getting to know their stories, really making you feel kind of center of the world just for 5 minutes while talking to him. So yeah, I mean, maybe he's gone into your shop a few times actually, and you've helped him out finding things, and he's just kind of chatted to you, maybe mentioned a trip or two, especially maybe looking at a book and going over and saying, oh, I know what this is about. I actually went to the place and did the thing, and you were like, oh wow, so quite impressed with what he's done. Maybe any other quick thoughts?
I'm thinking, my guy is from a long time ranch where they breed horses, things like that. This guy's a lord. He probably has horses. Maybe he bought one.
Yeah.
Maybe he wanted a pure like American. And I'm going blank on the types of horses because I'm not as good at that. That's my
kind of thoroughbred kind of thing.
Yeah, but those American Mustangs that are a lot faster than traditional horses, things like that. And maybe he wanted one and sought out my family. So I just have a weird, distant connection that is seemingly, not connected, but here we are. And
sure, I like to think he got chatting with you as well, and just kind of not necessarily that he maybe made an impression on you, but maybe you made an impression on him, particularly. Cool.
By the way, I'm chatting with Callum here, and to make the age work, my grandfather died in the Battle of San Juan Hill, and my father would have died in World War I, and so we'll have a nice like Lieutenant Dan, a line of war heroes that have died in battle, and so I like that. Adds that extra element of like, I want to be the hero that comes home from battle, and so of course I'll probably lose my legs. So
I was recommending. I cannot do without recommending. I was recommending to Prit to check the amazing Blueprint for Armageddon from Hardcore History, the podcast. And in the last episode, that's when the Americans get into the action. And I mean, check that series. It's very long, very massive, but amazing. And there's this quote from a American soldier, which is, "Come on, you son of bitches! You want to die of old age?" As all the other soldiers were actually retreating because that was an actual strategy from the French and the British, and the Americans were there fresh and didn't knew anything about 20th century fighting sort of. But check Blueprint for Armageddon by Dan Carlin. It's amazing.
Cool.
That quote was reused in Starship Troopers. Come on, you apes, you want to live forever?
Yeah. I thought I'd recognize the bastardization. Anyone else have any ideas, thoughts on how they met Towton?
I feel like through the Air Force, because they used to throw like little balls and stuff every now and then. Else he would have maybe come across him there at down south. Like maybe he's part of a training or something like that, and maybe I don't know. Is he kind of like a guy that you could just sort of like sneak away and have a couple of beers with and chat rubbish with, or is he quite a hoity-toity kind of guy?
Absolutely,
like,
you can sneak away with him. Yeah.
I feel like for Elsie, like she would be at this ball and everybody would be really proper and in their dress uniforms. It would be a bit much for her. So she'd be like, Jesus, where can I get a good drink? I might sneak off to a pub or something and maybe find him there and have a good chat, you know?
Well, I can imagine that classic kind of film thing of kind of you're sneaking off because it's so much in there, and he's just there, cigarette in hand, flask in the other, just ready, and just like, you want some?
Can I bum some of that? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No, yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So joining in there, and again, you could even I think, because I'm picturing this maybe that actually he hosted something. He's you know, being maybe a little bit more philanthropist in that sense. He's hosted. Oh yeah, I've been asked to host this thing. Again, you know, he is a lord, so technically he could sit in the House of Lords kind of thing. So he's thinking, well, I've probably been asked to, you know, put on one of these things to support the troops and stuff. So yeah, it's definitely something that could have happened to him. So you could definitely know where this place is, and have a bit of familiarity with it when we come to it, and even maybe the fact that not necessarily all of it, but maybe the kind of the library was actually accessible, and kind of you went through parts of it and actually just know, and actually, what are these weird books on the wall about, like, just different, I can't even read the writing on this one. It's a completely different alphabet and stuff like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah.
Shauna, any ideas particularly?
Muted, Shauna.
You're still muted there.
Oh, sorry. That through the museum connection probably is probably going to be the most likely.
Yeah, I think I like that too. It's a similar thing to V, that maybe you've helped him out a couple of times, maybe actually done some research work on something that he's found, linking it up to other things that you know about, but also actually that might give you a little bit more of an inkling about what he's been looking into. So let me have a little think on that too, and we'll get something together. Sure. But yeah, I think he probably takes a weekend up in London, probably the townhouse or something, and then often pops by the museum, pops by the bookshop, and his connections in London there, as well as meeting up with kind of, you know, colleagues who have come across from Oxford as well, that kind of thing. Callum, you're last. I think probably the most difficult, but maybe you'll surprise me with something. I don't know.
Actually, I was thinking of bringing it all full circle. My dad was a miner. My stepfather was a miner. Myself, I graduated from the Technical University of Charleroi, and I was working at the mines, more like a sort of low-level technician. And I think it would be very cool if that character, Baron, what's his name, actually, if we had found something down in a mine while I was there, and that's how I first ran into him, and maybe he grabbed me back when I ended up in Paris. But we did find, let's say, we found something in the mine, like they did find dinosaurs in some of those coal mines in some places in Belgium. So they might have found something cool and weird that he was interested in, and that would be cool if it was from that thing from my younger years to come back.
That could definitely be something whereby I'm feeling that, like, you guys found something, didn't know what it was seeking a specialist, and whilst that was going on, trying to send letters to places, just keeping the mine kind of closed. Maybe he was just in the area. He was just taking a tour somewhere, going something, heard about it, and then was then like, oh wow, I'm gonna have a look at this. And then actually just out of the blue, in comes this kind of English gentleman, pops down the mine and is suddenly writing notes, taking rubbings, like doing all that kind of stuff, and working with you on that. Cool. Well, that's cool. It's cool. So I've got my link to that. So that puts us in a good stead to start the campaign, which we will do next session. That brings us neatly to the end of today's kind of session 0. Anything else suddenly we need to think about in terms of characters, or anyone else? Any questions anyone has? Awesome.
Will any of our characters know each other at the beginning of this?
I could leave that up to you.
I'd like to be
So I'm
introduced
thinking-
in game.
Yeah, I think maybe particularly you and Shauna might have a working relationship there.
We have the same last name.
So something
gosh,
like that.
I didn't realise that at the
No,
time. I
it'd be
can always
cool.
change. Yeah?
No. We maybe
Can
we're
be
related.
Can be fun that
Pretty
no
cool that
connection.
You work in a museum, don't you? So perhaps
Yeah.
there is a bit of maybe there's a bit of trade of artifacts, and it's like,
Yeah.
I have this cool thing come into the shop. You might want to look at this, or vice versa. That'd be kind of cool.
We have had a request in chat. Susie, you need to decide how Tetley knows Lord Taunton.
I'll have to think about this.
Yeah,
Tetley is
I
a
think that's-
complex pup.
It's not going to be easy. We've got a lot of character development to think of in the next few days. Absolutely. Yeah, cool. Well, thank you very much, guys, for making some amazing characters. I'm so looking forward to seeing how you guys deal with our investigation into Atlantis and the ancient history of the world. Thank you, everyone, for watching, particularly if you're watching on YouTube back to this recorded session, then please do make sure you come back to us. We are live at 5 p.m. every Friday for the next few months. We are going to be playing this and until we drop. 5 p.m. Eastern or 10 p.m. UK time, that's when we start. Let's just go around very quickly, just remind ourselves who you all are, where we can find you online. Start with Prit. Work your way around, folks.
Once again, I'm Pruitt, co-host of WebDM. We have shows on Wednesdays on YouTube, or advice shows on role-playing D&D, but role-playing in general. I have a couple games on Twitch. You can find me on Twitter at JProInc, also on Instagram there. And I cannot wait to get back next week. I will be just at the end of our next WebDM shoot, so I will be very exhausted, but I cannot wait for the first session next week. I gotta go to the Army Navy store this weekend and get a costume.
Awesome.
I don't fuck around. So.
Yes, I am Virginia. You can find me on Twitter at Tabletop Horde. You can also find me on Sam's Casual D&D stream, which is running on
again.
whatever that's Thursday, Wednesday, someday soon. But yeah, I'm around on there as well. That's pretty much it. Occasionally you can find me at the Roleplay Haven if you want to sign up to an awesome roleplay club that also raises money for charity.
If you're London-based, check them out. Pop down there. It's awesome.
And Wales now. We have Cardiff now as well. So if you're also in Wales, you can come down to the Roleplay Haven and roll some dice and earn money for charity and feel good about your gaming.
Cool.
All right, I'm Susie, otherwise known as Susanna Grace, and you can find me everywhere on the internet at Susanna Grace, and that's Susanna with one N. Otherwise, a sweet American lady gets lots of tweets that she doesn't know what they mean. I variety streamer. I do D&D, tabletop, all sorts of things. I am on Encounter Roleplay every Thursday, DMing Once Upon a Time, which is the viewer game. That's every Thursday at 10 p.m. GMT, 5 p.m. EST. And at the end of January, starting the 27th of January, I will be in The Lost Girls, which is a Cypher System game about vampires set in the 80s on WebDM. So make sure to tune in for that because my vampire is a disaster and I love her.
That sounds awesome. I'm there. Shauna.
Oh, hi, Shauna. Flying Cirrus on Twitter, art, and do a lot of other D&D things. There's a Greyhawk channel on Mondays. I play against the Giants, and on Power Score RPG. I in Hell's Rebels on Saturdays.
Yes, awesome. Callum.
Hey, that's great. I've got a segue. The Greyhawk channel. We've recorded for the RPG Academy a episode of film studies with Danny Neary from the Greyhawk channel about El Dia de la Bestia, which is a dark comedy Christmas. And we watch the movie and see what can be used in it for role-playing games. So go check it out if you're still in a holiday mood. My show is the Rollist Podcast. You can find it at Rollistpod. It's written under me. That's French for role player. You can find me rollistpod.com. You can find it on iTunes, Twitter, Stitcher, etc. At Rollistpod. I'm on Twitter, at Rollistpod. I'm on Instagram. And if you check some episodes, you will hear Virginia recommending the Roleplay Heaven at Dragon Meet. And You will hear also Sam at the end of an episode, at the end of Dragonmead, allegedly intoxicated with Lloyd. I'm not
Who
sure.
knows? No.
Go check last year's Dragonmead. No, at least 2 years ago, Dragonmead episode to hear what Sam sounds at the end of a very tiring convention.
It was very tiring. It's true. I am RPG Webby. You can find me pretty much under that handle anywhere on the internet. I'm otherwise known as Sam. I work for Modiphius Entertainment. I'm the head of RPG development. You can also find me at Black Cats Gaming, which is my little sideline project. If you want to hear more about the Spy game, which is a 5e OGL game about kind of modern warfare, espionage, and action, then just check that website out too as well. If you have any questions about Achtung, Cthulhu, or any other Modiphius stuff, please reach out to us, either on my Twitter handle. You can at Modiphius as well. Please also chat in Encounter at Encounter RP as well to keep the chat going. Let us know what you're looking forward to. Lots more cats invading the stream. Lots more dogs invading the stream. It is going to be awesome. Thank you very much, guys. I hope my technicians are listening. We are heading out. Thank you very much. I am going to go to bed.